5 races into the 13th season in IORL, and Nate Stewart is already a multi-time winner, heading to the site of his biggest season 12 win a year ago. Can Stewart go back-to-back in the Wolverine State, or can another IORL driver step up for potentially their first win of the season, or even their second to match car number 4? Hi, welcome to Pit Stop TV. I'm Andrew Cardinal IV, joined this evening by Caleb Gladney. And Caleb, we last saw these IRL Indy cars back at Long Beach in March to open the season, but lots has changed in the week since, with Nate Stewart atop the wins list, but Matt Chubb atop the standings.
Lots of parity going on to start this season here in the IORL Racing League. You know, Andrew, when we were back at Long Beach, we saw some really great racing, some hectic racing from beginning to end, and I think we can be as sure as into the same thing today here at Michigan.
Yeah, I think we're in for some good stuff. We're going to see a lot of draft battles the other day, a lot of dipping and diving, slingshots certainly, and these guys are going to be doing it all at about 220, 230 miles an hour, which makes it that much more special throughout the course of the afternoon. With these nice scenics around the Michigan International Speedway, let's go ahead and come back into the sim, or come into the sim, I suppose, for the first time today, and take a look here at exactly how things are looking. It's a good day. It is a good day in virtual Michigan to go race, and let's go ahead and check on that track map. It's Michigan International Speedway, almost at JP. Caleb, there's really nothing too special about it. It's a D-shaped oval. It's got some banking in the corners. It goes real fast.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, what you see with Michigan is what you get. If you love speed, this is your kind of racetrack. Like you said, they'll be going upwards of 230 miles per hour, and it'll be a big difference and key on how they draft depending on how this race plays out. But like I said, a D-shaped oval, lots of racing grooves. That's what makes Michigan special. Being able to carry these speeds and hold these speeds through the corner is what I'm looking forward to most. And like I said, what you see with Michigan is typically what you get.
You can see the kart lap record here set in 2000 by Paul Tracy. That's a 30.645. With the IndyCar lap record here set by Thomas Schechter at a 32.365. And of course, IndyCar doesn't race here at Michigan anymore, but these Dallara IR18s are checking in at 31.9s for their fastest laps here so far in practice, and I'm sure qualifying and even the race might just go ahead and trump that. We're going to see some fast lap times today in the draft and in race conditions particularly. Let's go ahead and take a look at those point standings I was talking about. Matt Chubb atop everybody here. Reed Sweeney close behind, and Spencer Ray in that top 3, but without a win. You can see Adam Kreppen and Nate Stewart. They wrap up the top 5. Then it's down to Grant Palmer, Zach Buchanan, Bobby Krug, Dale Weiser, and Corey Rexford to close out your top 10.
Yeah, back here in 11th is Frolic in the 15, Galloway in 12th, Staubitz 13th. He's 99 points out of that first place, so still within the hunt. And back here in 14th, Jay Walsh, and just below him is Missig in the 104 points behind. But that's your top 15 rundown of the points. You know, looking at the drivers who have won races so far, with Chubb, Sweeney, Kreppen, and Stewart getting 2. That's a pretty top-heavy top 5. All those drivers with wins and all sitting inside the top 5. So if you're picking favorites today, I'd say look there.
And each of these drivers have 155 laps this afternoon to go ahead and change their fate in this season. And I think this race comes at a very momentous, or could be a momentous point in time for their season. It could definitely change the way the season goes. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Spring Cup schedule. Now, there's a whole half of the season after this, and we'll cover that next time we're on air with these guys for Indianapolis. But this is only the Spring Cup schedule. This is only through May. They will take a couple of months off for the summer and then come back, I believe it's in July or August, and come back racing with some really cool tracks there. I think Iowa's on that slate, Gateway, and some others like that. But this is a look at the first half of the schedule, Caleb. We opened things up at Long Beach in March, then Chicagoland for round number 2. It was Barber round 3 and Phoenix round 4. And you can see even there between rounds 3 and 4, as we talked about at Long Beach, they've got these breaks built in, these off weeks built in. So you've got 3 weeks of racing, a week off, then 3 weeks of racing and a week off, then 3 more weeks of racing, and we find ourselves on that last week of the middle portion basically. So we've got a week off next week on April the, again, think about this, 20th, and we're back then at Texas for racing. It won't be covered here on Pit Stop TV unless a sponsor steps up, but they will be racing in 2 weeks' time at Texas.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this first half of the schedule, the Spring Cup schedule, as you mentioned, it's a good mixture of both road courses and ovals. Back and forth, you see Chicagoland being an oval, Phoenix being an oval, Texas, Michigan, and then of course the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, if you're a driver that's really good on ovals or a driver that's really good on road courses, you have to figure out a way to be good at both because it's hard to keep consistency when you're changing the style track you're racing. So I think that's kind of what they were shooting for with this schedule because it makes it more entertaining for us, the race fans. I mean, 1 minute we're at a road course, the next minute we're at an oval, and it keeps us on our toes and always keeps us guessing.
And of course, you can see down at race number 9 to end off this first half of the season, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indianapolis 500 here in the International Online Racing League. That is May 18th, 2022. Mark your calendars today. And I say it 3 weeks of racing consecutively. It's not quite. That's where that rule kind of gets broken. There are 2 weeks of racing consecutively with Texas and the Indianapolis Grand Prix. Then it's a week off technically, because they're not points racing, but they will be qualifying the week in between the Indianapolis Grand Prix and the Indianapolis 500. Think the month of May for IndyCar. It's the same kind of process, the same kind of thought process anyways, there with the International Online Racing League. So, practice underway, and in fact, we're getting down to the final few moments. The drivers' meeting is on the way, so let's go ahead and check in on our practice times. Actually, first, let's go ahead and check the weather, because this is going to be pretty important. For 155 laps of racing here at the speeds that we'll be achieving, this is important to look at. 78 degrees in the air, 107 on the track, and some winds out of the southwest, around 6 to 7, maybe 8 miles an hour as those pick up. It's certainly much better conditions than the Midwest saw throughout the course of today.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, virtual Michigan is a good place to be right now. 78 degrees. When you go to any kind of race, you know, me and you have talked about this, Andrew, before. I think you were in Martinsville this past weekend. It was pretty chilly there.
Yeah.
So you would have loved to have been in some 78-degree weather like these fans are getting to enjoy at Michigan this evening.
And if you are in the Midwest or even in the South as these storms move through the United States, by all means, please stay safe. One weather channel that I like to keep up with is Ryan Hall, y'all. He's live streaming coverage right now, in fact. So if you can have multiple devices up at once, if you can have multiple monitors up at once and watch that stream, please, please, please do so. There's a lot of weather moving through Indiana into, I'm sure, Ohio, Kentucky, Louisiana. I saw a bunch of tornado warnings. So by all means, please, if it comes down to watching us or Ryan Hall, y'all, I would much prefer you watch Ryan Hall, y'all, and make sure you're safe. And be weather aware, as he puts it. Make sure you're being safe with this big-time severe weather moving through the Midwest and Southern United States. But that said, let's get back to a happier note here. Check out practice times, and you'll see a familiar name atop the standings here. Caleb, Rick Ray Vaughn, back in the series, back on top. No surprise there. He is fast in an IndyCar, making, I believe, his first start of the season, coming back and getting a race in here with the IORL guys. Jake Walsh second, then you see Spencer Ray, Reed Sweeney, Andrew Meebach, and some others throughout the top 10. I think, though, everybody's being called into the pit lane for their drivers' meetings. You can kind of see where they all lie. It's very interesting to me that Rick Ray Vaughn is back here at Michigan. Yeah,
I mean, it shows you what kind of driver Rick Ray Vaughn is. He comes out and makes a statement to start. I mean, going to the top of the board in practice with all the cars that have taken time. I mean, that kind of lets the field know that, you know, without even drafting, you got some pretty good speed, even in single car practice run right there by Rick Ray Vaughn. But obviously Walsh there, second quickest, Ray third, Sweeney fourth, and Mibach fifth. So a lot of those drivers we talked about at the top of the standings are showing speed here today again.
And it looks like we're going to have about 21, maybe 22 cars. We'll see how things go. But you can see Nate Margenthaler there in the 21st slot on our ticker. He is just registered for the race, but has not taken a time yet. In fact, he joined Zach Buchanan and Eric McCarthy on that list, not taking practice times in their allotted amount of time. So they will maybe get a chance to go out there and set times. After the drivers' meeting, and I would imagine not. I think this drivers' meeting should take us to qualifying, but they will at least get to turn a qualifying time. 21 cars in all so far. That could change to 22 as we get ready for 155 laps here at the Michigan International Speedway. While these guys go through their drivers' meeting, we will take a quick step aside and get ready for racing. It is round number 6 in the International Online Racing League for Season 13. And we sure hope you'll stick on with us throughout the course of the day. A lot of racing is coming up here very, very soon, and we'll be right back after this.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the Virtual Michigan International Speedway. Thanks for sticking with us through that quick break. And Caleb, it's good to be here in Michigan. It's one of those racetracks that I think slips through the cracks as far as premier circuits, premier places you go racing in the United States. But it's definitely a fun racetrack, especially depending on the car. And you bring Indy cars here, and it always provides good racing on an oval. These Indy cars tend to do that, but especially at a place like Michigan, where it's just about wide open the entire run, and things might change, tires might fall off, especially depending on the setup and exactly how conditions are. But it's usually really, really good racing, a lot of draft battles, a lot of excitement.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And with the track being as big as it is and as wide as it is, It allows for multiple groove racing. And just about every series that takes on these high banks and high speeds here at Michigan. So it's always good to come to Michigan. I mean, I can't think of a time when there's been a Michigan race where you're like, well, it's Michigan. No, it's always, they're going to be going really fast, so you're going to be impressed one way or another. And, you know, with them running this fast and drafting, it can be dangerous for crashes and everything else.
Yeah, I think the high speeds are always a draw, right? That's what always gets you into racing as a whole is, hey, we're going faster than you do on the highway. So, yeah, the highway might feel fast at 80, 85 miles an hour. You maybe don't want to admit to 85, but we all do it every once in a while. Yeah. Anyways, so that might feel fast already. Imagine doubling that or even tripling that sometimes. That's how fast these guys go. I mean, literally in excess of 230 miles an hour. You get to that 240 mark sometimes in Indianapolis in qualifying. So you really are taking 80 and tripling that sometimes, at least in Indy qualifying. You're going quite fast, especially in these Indy cars, and not just in Indy cars. When NASCAR came here, they used to be topping, 220 themselves off into turn one before they restricted motors, further back and took some horsepower out. So even stock cars were pretty darn fast here when they were really able to stretch their legs. And Michigan, I think, is a classic just kind of high-speed draw for any race fan. It's just really, really cool. Here is Nate Stewart on the racetrack, opening up qualifying. His number 4 has a throwback livery to one of his old cars, I believe. I might be corrected on that one, but it is a bit of a throwback. This is kind of serving as an unofficial, official throwback for these guys, and Nate is taking part. He's trying to back up that win, though, as I mentioned there, Caleb, and this might be a good car to do it with.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as we ride on board right here, you get to see how quickly they get down this backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. And Andrew, I got to say, looking at the first look up close at these Indy cars, for open wheels, these cars are just magnificent. I mean, they're magnificent. They're beautiful. As someone who's a big stock car fan, looking at these Indy cars, man, it's hard not to like what you see.
Nate Stewart across the line, goes to the top of the board, goes purple ahead of Cole Freilich. Now, these are two of the drivers that actually we were concerned about with weather concerns, but it seems like they're doing okay. And just again, want to remind everybody out there, if you are anywhere in the Midwest right now, there's a lot of weather going on. Please be weather aware. Just be advised about whatever might be coming your way. We would much rather you watch the news, watch whatever, be aware of that, than watch a Pit Stop TV broadcast, as much as we'd like to have you here. Here's a look at Eric McCarthy, but Jordan Missing goes to the top of the board here in qualifying pretty early, and still two and a half minutes to go almost. There's still plenty of time to lay down a lap.
Yeah, a lot of drivers still have not laid down a lap, so as good of a time that is that Jordan Missick put down with a 32.503, a lot of drivers still haven't made time, so he's hoping it holds, but we'll have to see with a good bit of drivers still left to roll out and make their lap.
Missick across the line goes no faster that lap. Matt Skipper, though, actually he doesn't go any faster. Nate Margenthaler does, though. In car 35, goes up to the 8th position. A few more cars on track. William Avery goes up to the 11th position. And Rick Ray Vaughn has not started his laps just yet. He is sitting in the pit lane, while Zach Buchanan, reigning champion, goes up to 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Ray Vaughn sitting in the pit area, that's the driver that a lot of us are watching simply because he was quickest in practice. So if anybody's got a shot at Missick there on the pole right now, it's probably going to be Ray Vaughn, as he sits in the pit area waiting to make his lap. We ride looking at Galloway right here with a 32.615, so not too far off the pole, sits 8th quickest right now.
Rick Ray Vaughn has made his way onto the track. Let's check out Corey Rexford and the Rexford Engineering. Number 03, he goes up to 6th position. Looking pretty quick there in car 03 as well. I know he didn't quite like COTA last week, but excited to get things done here at Michigan. And here we go, Rick Ray Vaughn on track. He's always quick in these Indy cars. Let's go on board with car number 7. He's up on the top line. I don't think he's going to get both laps in here. I think he's just going out here simply to go through the motions, just get a lap down. He's going to come back from the back of the field, it looks like. Running the top side is not going to get him the time he needs, and he's not going to have enough time to get back to the start-finish line and complete this next lap. He would have had to be there already.
So once this clock ends, even though you've started a lap, you don't get to finish it. You have to have completed your laps before.
Yeah, I mean, when it's lap qualifying like this, they only get a few seconds afterwards. If it was a time session as opposed to a lap session, because these guys get only 2 laps of qualifying. if it was timed, if it was 10 minutes, for example, or 5 minutes and no lap requirement, they would get a full minute or so afterwards to complete their laps. Not the case here. As the timer hits 0, it will only go to about 3 here, and that's qualifying done. Ray Vaughn does not have a chance to get his lap in, and he waited just a little bit too long. So we'll go ahead and wait on our starting grid. It looks like we're already there for it. 21 cars. We're ready to get things rolling. Let's go ahead and go through them all. Jordan Missig on pole, sneaking on through in car 48, so watch out for Jordan. Did not expect that one. Reed Sweeney starts, though, from the second spot this evening. He's already got a win this season ahead of Zach Buchanan, starting from third place in car number 1. It's Nate Stewart trying to defend his win, starting in car 4 from position number 4. Bobby Krug rolls off in 5th, and it's Corey Rexford finishing off row number 3. And if you head back to rows 4 and 5, you get Kyle Cuthbertson on the inside of row 4, Timothy Bates on the outside. Then it's Jake Walsh in 9th and Blake Galloway rounding out your top 10.
Back here in row number 6, rolling off in 11th is Nate Margenthaler in the 35, and Spencer Ray in the 6th. He'll roll off 12th. 13th and 14th is going to be Cole Freilich and William Avery, number 15 and 16 right there. Back here in 15th and 16th will be Grant Palmer in the 30 and Matt Skipper in the 14. Rolling off 17th and 18th, Andrew Myvick in the 11 and the 25 of Dale Weiser. Rolling off 19th and 20th, Danny Stallbitz in the 13th and the 87 of Eric McCarthy. And then rounding out the field in the 7, Rick Rayvon, who was not able to put down a time. He will roll off in 21st. So 21 cars set to roll and do battle here at Michigan International Speedway.
A look at some of the cars in the pit lane. There's Missig as he waits for, it looks like, about 5 or 6 more cars to get ready and hit the grid. Reed Sweeney's going to roll off from that second spot. Zach Buchanan from 3rd. Nate Stewart's, actually he is in his car. Bobby Krug there in the 5th spot. We're Expert rolling off from 6th. Let's go ahead and take a look then at our weather again as we get ready for this one. You can see nothing has really changed, although that track temp is just a little more skyward than it was previously. It was 107 in practice, now it's 112. That's going to have an impact on these tires.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll continue to climb, especially when we put these cars out there, putting down lap times and laying some rubber down and everything. The track temp's going to continue to climb. So that wind sitting at around 5 miles per hour, I don't think that'll affect these cars too much. Still sitting around 78 degrees, but it's a beautiful sight here in Michigan, Andrew. Cars are rolling.
Again, this race, 155 laps. These guys roll off the pit lane. Go ahead and look once again at your standings as we get ready for round number 6 this season. We'll take a look at the schedule here as well in just 1 second. Matt Chubb, watch out for car 42. And I say that, but I actually don't see him in the field this evening. I wonder what's holding him out of this race tonight, but I don't see him around. I do see Reed Sweeney. So maybe this is an opportunity for car number 9 to go up there and take this points lead at a really, really pivotal point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see as we look at the schedule here. We got to look at the points now, look at the schedule. You see we're right here at race 6, Michigan, and then we'll have a week off before we roll into Texas. So back-to-back ovals here in the schedule, and then we'll round out the spring portion of this schedule going to the Indianapolis Grand Prix and then everyone's favorite, the Indianapolis 500.
And we are handing out a Spring Cup Championship and a Fall Cup Championship with this new schedule structure. But really, I think these drivers are all playing the long game. They want to go get the big hardware. They want to get the big bucks and win this championship. So you got to think about how to make that transition through the spring into the summer, the summer off weeks and months really, and then get ready for the fall. It's going to be a big, I think, chess game throughout the course of 2022 as these guys have to play that long game. Now headed down to the start finish line. We're going to get this race underway. 155 laps. Jordan Missig on pole, and right down to the restart zone. Green flag will fly, and already Reed Sweeney, a great start. Now to turn 3 and 4, and Kyle Cuthbertson now emerging as your race leader ahead of Sweeney and Krug, and they're all going to file out of turn number 4 down to the start-finish line. 1 lap complete.
1 lap complete, and it shows you just how crazy this racing can be and how quickly they cut through these corners here fanning out 3 and 4 wide just a lap ago. Now everybody tames it back just a little bit as they ride single file down the backstretch.
Donnie Staubitz dead last right now, 21st out of 21. This is a look from his car ahead at the entire field. You see all 20 cars ahead of him. He's trailing Nate Margenthaler and Rick Ray Vaughn currently, and Ray Vaughn going to slice and dice his way through the field. Let's go on board with car 7.
Yeah, we're going to ride on board right here with that number 7 of Rick Ray Vaughn. You see his mile per hour there creeping up, 223. Yeah, I think 223.
He's really keeping himself a gap to these cars ahead, moving, dicing, and weaving all around the track. There were a couple of close calls at the turn 4, and he wants to stay back with it all.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You can't win the race on lap 3, but you can for sure lose it. So he's just trying to creep to the field as we look at Timothy Bates right here, fading a little bit right here. A Carolina driver sliding back through the field.
He was very slow that time out of 2. Slow again out of 4. I don't see any damage on his car, but we might be missing something here. Let's see if we can get a better look. He might have some. Yeah, I think well, I don't see any damage. Nothing too obvious. Maybe a bit of left front damage. Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of wing damage. It's tough to tell.
And I think you said it best right there, Andrew. That you said a little bit of wing damage, but just a little bit of wing damage.
Oh, there is. Look at that left front wing.
Oh yeah, you can see it now. It's kind of tilted right there. No doubt about that. But being in a track that's so aero dependent, you want to have all your ducks in a row in that car.
Absolutely, you have to. And if you don't, you see the effect of it now for car 21. He is headed backwards and quickly. Let's see if we can get a look back at it. Watch. Is it here? Yeah, he does get onto the apron there. I don't think he hits anything. Nails that cone, and that's just about it. I really think that's all he did.
I guess the cone,
I've never seen that on iRacing.
Wow.
That's actually a cooler thing. I've never seen that. That's actually kind of cool.
If you wonder how realistic it is, hitting a cone on iRacing can affect these wings on these cars. I mean, wow.
This is back on lap 2 or 3. Watch this for Timothy Bates. It might even be from the apron here. He does get down onto the apron, maybe over some bumps. It's got to be the cone. I've never seen that. It's the
cone. I mean, it was perfectly fine when he got on that apron, and even when he came back off the apron. But when he made contact with that cone, he got some damage.
I've never seen that on iRacing before. I've been on here since 2016, and I've watched for years prior. I've never, ever seen that. That's got to be a new one there. Let's go back to the front of the field. Cole Freilich now leading. We've seen him dance around the lead before, especially here at Michigan. We saw that last season, but he did get himself into some trouble. Going to have to change things up tonight if he wants to stay out of that trouble and keep himself to the race lead as Reed Sweeney looks low, and here comes Bobby Krug making it 3 wide.
3 wide. Bobby Krug tried to make a pass right there, but he still sits there trying for second now. Can't make the lead, but Sweeney jumps out to the front of this field now. He'll come around and complete lap number 8.
Now Cuthbertson squaring up with the 51 of Krug as Freilich drops back down to the inside of Sweeney. We're going to see this throughout the course of the day. Big moves to the inside, and we're going to see, I think, Bombing and Weaving certainly handing the lead off multiple times in the same lap. Leapfrogging, as they put it. We're going to see this over the course of the afternoon. It's not going to change.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it almost feels like if you are the car out front, you're a sitting duck a little bit.
A yellow.
Yeah, wow. I'm wondering. Oh, there it is right there.
Corey Rexford in car 03 wanted to turn things around from Coda 1 week ago, and he is not. Well, he's turning things around, but quite the way he wanted as he takes a spin here on the bottom side of the back stretch. And William Avery, it seems, the other car involved in car 16, and that rear wing on Rexford's machine is gone. Well, it's hanging on just by a thread. It's very tough for him to make it back to the pit lane, especially, he's not taking the closed pit. I want to watch this until he goes into turn 1 here at speed. I don't know if that car is going to hold. It does not. Oh, wow. No. Okay, it's just the wing. He's just going to nurse that thing back around. No, does not damage the suspension, but I thought that was going to be a concern, and it is.
Well, I mean, looking at that, I mean, you called it before it happened, how important that wing is to keep that car stable in the corner, and it showed, as we're going to get a look at the replay right here of maybe what happened to that car.
You see the blue and white number 03, top side of the racetrack. It looks like that is William Avery just behind of the chrome number 16. Avery to the inside, and that's a lot of netcode. And Avery is one of those actually in Tennessee. So we might be seeing weather take its first effect here on the sim. I have to imagine that's got to have something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good possibility. That could have been what happened is, right there.
There was still tons of space between them.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
If we can get a better look at it here. It was just behind Nate Stewart. That actually might be a good view of things. Let's go to his rear suspension. Yeah, this would be a great view of what happens here. A ton of space between them. Somehow that's netco. That is one of the worst I've ever seen. That's got to be weather related, and I wonder if maybe there was a blip in Avery's connection, or even Rexford. I think Rexford is one of those guys that has a pretty poor connection most of the time. I hate to put it that way, but it's just the truth. So I think between the weather for Avery and the connection issues that normally happen for Rexford, I think that was just always going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's what it looks like, and we've talked about the weather already, so no doubt that's probably what caused that. We've completed 10 laps here as they roll around under yellow, coming around a complete lap number 11. We'll see if there's any takers to pit lane.
We already had some, actually. Here's Blake Galloway, one of the first. In fact, the first one back onto the racetrack. You see his lane time there. His pit time itself, 5.2 seconds. For Stewart, it's 4.2 seconds, and he's going back in. It looks like to top off on fuel. That's not a bad play. It's usually a stock car play to come in on the, as you're taking one to go and top off on fuel. He's definitely a stock car guy coming in doing that same play, just making sure he has enough fuel to go as far into this run as he possibly can, or at least give himself that option. And he's going to play this race. He's absolutely going to play the game here and try and set himself up for a strategy win by all means if he can. Here's Dale Weiser, came into the pit lane. Timothy Bates as well. Grant Palmer came in. They all have much longer stops, but Stewart back onto the racetrack. Rexford trying to head that way, and William Avery as well, already one lap down.
And I mean, you talked about what kind of strategy these guys are playing, and you know this better than I do. What could pitting this early do? I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to go to the end of this race, but what could an advantage be to having this, being able to extend the life of a run coming up?
It depends on the map these guys are looking at as far as trying to get to the end. I'm not entirely certain anymore exactly how long these guys can go on fuel, and I believe there might be a fuel restriction as well, but if, for example, this moves you into a fuel window to cut a pit stop out, that's where it's valuable, right? If you're able to take the pit stop out of the caution, be grouped up with the field still, and these guys that didn't pit might still have to take an extra pit stop. It really depends on how these guys feel about fuel math and exactly how far they think they can go in this race. I'm not entirely privy to that number right this second, but we might find out by the end of this race. Reed Sweeney will lead us back down to the pit lane, or sorry, not the pit lane, but the restart zone, and get this race underway. Watch car number 9 in front of the entire field. It is lap 11 now. Lap number 12 as Sweeney gets a good start. A few cars bunch up. Onto the backstretch now. You can see everybody working down that long straightaway and down to turn 3. Freilich makes the first move down to the inside, and he will take that lead away.
Taking that lead away, he will. Battle is hanging on for second right there. They all jump back single file on the straightaways. Impressive to watch as they draft down this long straightaway. A speed shot of these cars coming by here on the front stretch, one after another, all trying to stay in this draft as they head back into turns 1 and 2.
On board with Kyle Cuthbertson, position number 4, car number 34 ahead of Zach Buchanan, and following Bobby Kruger, Reed Sweeney. And Reed Sweeney, one of the younger drivers in this series, he will absolutely be apt to go out there and mix it up with Cole Freilich. Will not shy away from that opportunity. That said, I think Sweeney's one of the most sure-footed drivers in this series. Doesn't make many mistakes, and when he does, they're usually on the smaller side. I expect this 9 car to be up there all day long.
Well, here comes the battle for the lead right here, coming from that 15 car of Frolic. He will take over that front spot and push Sweeney back to second. But as you mentioned earlier in the show, that's not something that is out of proportion for this race. Here comes the run back from Sweeney as they'll swap the lead once again.
Sweeney back down to the inside, going to bring Krug with. Maybe he thought about it. Onboards at Michigan at 220, 230 miles an hour. They're just something special. there. You see there, just about to 231 for a moment there for Bobby Krug. That's holding himself back. He could go a little bit faster if he wanted to set up a move here on Sweeney, but there's really no need to. These guys are swapping the lead right now, and for good reason. They do go a little bit faster, swapping the lead, not having to check themselves up and stay in line, as we've got an issue for Eric McCarthy in the rear of the field, and oh, yeah, that is a rather large issue.
Yeah, he's in the wall pretty hard right there, and that's definitely going to be some suspension damage for that 87 machine of McCarthy.
You saw briefly Rick Ray Vaughn went purple before we took that yellow flag, and this looks like it might be a pretty classic mistake here from McCarthy as well. Actually, we're going to have to go even further back. Let's check this out. Watch car 87. He's been having some issues this entire last lap and a half or so. Watch him turn 4. He's going to have a bit of a, I don't know what this issue is really, but he gets into the wall. That's the biggest part of this. So, tracks out, some arrow push, maybe does he get hit? I think that's just rain fake. Just gets himself into the fence there. Almost gets hit. That was almost, I think, Graham that he almost hit. Out of turn 2. Oh, he gets put in the fence. Oh, no, Nate Stewart. Now, these guys should get one fast fix. That's why Corey Rexford was able to continue, and William Avery as well. So Stewart should be okay for now, but that is absolutely race-altering. One of the biggest, I think, heavy hitters in this race particularly, being that he won this race last season, taken out early. Let's see how this goes. I think it was Dale Weiser that makes the contact here. No, it wasn't Weiser. Who was that got him in the wall? Was that... Might have been Timothy Bates.
I mean, either way, he definitely got ran up the racetrack right there, and I don't think him getting into the wall in the front stretch really caused any harm to him. I think it was almost a close call, but he survived it. But then right here, you can see it just put right up into the wall.
Wow. And Nate with nowhere to go. That's going to be a crushing blow. He's not going to like that one. I'm sure he's streaming as he usually is, and I can only imagine right now. I would be pretty livid right now. This early in the race, not even 20 laps in, and you've had 2 incidents that, well, one of them was netcode, didn't need to happen, of course, but this one really didn't need to happen. A car off the bottom just clears himself up, and small mistake, easy mistake to do, but now Nate with nowhere to go. His right front's done. He's going to take a faster mirror, right? That is absolutely enraging as a driver.
And he had, look at that. There's a lot of damage there on Nate Stewart. So that's a early time to use a fast repair, Andrew. Only 17 laps in this race. A lot of racing left. And, wow. I mean, just came down the track and cleaned him out.
That said, he is back on the racetrack with a new car. So using that fast repair for the Apex action number 4, but still not at all what he wanted. It's going to have to hold him back through the rest of the day. He's going to have to stay in the back, but the problem is that's where the issues have happened so far. As we've seen Corey Rexford and William Avery towards the rear of the field having a netcode issue, and now Grant Palmer and Timothy Bates have an issue with some arrow push there for Bates, just getting into him. And I am surprised that Bates is not in the rear of the field, actually. There's usually an EOL rule for these guys. I'm surprised Bates is holding his position. He might be disputing that. But we have several takers on this pit stop now as Spencer Ray is in the McDonald's number 6. And he is joined by, it looks like, Zach Buchanan in car number 1, if I can get a hold of there. Go, car number 1. Spencer Ray is in, Dale Weiser is in. And it looks like Rexford and Galloway might have come in here as well. Maybe not. They might have stayed out. But regardless, at least 3 takers under this portion of the yellow with, I think we're getting the 1 to go signal. Or not. I think 2 to go. They might be reviewing this, actually. Buchanan's still in the pit lane. I think he's having to review this. Which I have to say is a shame. I think as a driver, when you come up the racetrack and there's contact with your right rear and somebody else's left rear, or sorry, left front, I think that's pretty obvious what happened. You came up the racetrack. I don't like that Zach is having to stop and potentially review this. That's if he's having to review it, and if it was contested.
Well, we'll just have to see what exactly the issue or why that is. But 18 laps completed here. It's looking like we're going to go back green flag racing perhaps on lap 20 as we still see lights on top of the pace vehicle in around the racetrack. So there's Timothy Bates right there, the Carolina driver down there on the apron.
He is now getting that EOL. You can see him dropping down to the apron, letting these guys go by. So I think that tells the story.
Well, as he makes his way to the rear of the field.
That should definitely be one to go for the pace car. Reed Sweeney leads us on to this one to go lap. Buchanan going to retake his position in line. And actually, he's going way up there. I hope he didn't take any service. And usually he's pretty good about that. But, yeah, we'll rejoin in the 6th position. If you're wondering about Spencer Ray, I think he had to do the same thing. Ray is going to rejoin the field in 4th. So they are both admins in this series, and they both having to go back and review that one and take care of some admin duties. It's part of it. Is some of these guys in the field are admins. They've got to take those kinds of things into consideration. So Reed Sweeney will lead us back to the green flag. Tire warming there for Bobby Krug. The top 3 still have not pitted, and Ray and Buchanan only pitted for, well, admin duties there. So really, you're looking at still the top 12 cars having not pitted in this race. It's all the way down through Nate Margenthaler. That's including guys like Matt Skipper, Andrew Meebach, Jake Walsh, Rick Ray Vaughn, Jordan Missig, and Kyle Cuthbertson. Grant Palmer has taken a pit after he was involved in that issue previously. Donnie Staubitz has not pitted. Corey Rexford, though, has pitted after his issue. Blake Galloway in as well. Nate Stewart, Dale Weiser, Timothy Bates, they have all pitted at least once through this race. Bates has not pitted, though, in 9 laps. So Reed Sweeney going to lead us back to the green flag. And we'll get this one right back underway. It's lap 19, coming to lap 20 of 155, so still 136 to go, and green flag is back out. Down the backstretch, Reed Sweeney down to the bottom side, defending that bottom from Cole Freilich. Now starting to race, it looks like. I didn't expect this. At least the defending part. I expect the leapfrogging part, not the defending part.
Yeah, I mean, the defending part here is early. Late in the race, definitely expect that. But right now, this is early. They come back across the stripe. Looks like Frolic will lead that lap. Sweeney, they're also now perhaps 3 wide into the corner. Not going to make it work right there as Krug went for it there, looking for the lead.
Bobby Krug still on the bottom side of Reed Sweeney, now backs out of it, gets back in line just ahead of Spencer Ray, who's going to make a move down to the bottom side. Car number 6 looking for 3rd place, and he's going to have it. For now, maybe not. That bottom side, I think, is starting to wear out for these guys with older tires. I don't think it's really formidable right now. 20 laps on their tires, a couple of heat cycles as well. I think you want to be careful about that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, these drivers up front, they didn't pit. A lot of these drivers in the back did pit. So lap 22 laps in, Frolic still holding on to that lead, but side by side down the backstretch, they're going to head off to the corner side by side, Andrew.
Freilich back on point. And, Krug comes down, takes the air off of Spencer Ray's car. You can see the effect of that. Up the racetrack and out of the throttle goes car number 6 as Buchanan comes on by on the outside. And Krug has a shot maybe to the inside. No, Sweeney's going to go down to the bottom side of Freilich, looking for the race lead once more, and he's got it. Car number 9, back to point.
Sweeney does pull the field around through turns 1 and 2, and what we looked like was perhaps a 3-car battle for the lead has quickly joined into a mass of cars here at the front of the field now as Sweeney pulls away, headed into turns 3 and 4.
Freilich now working on the top side, Krug on the bottom in 3rd. And this view from the rear of Sweeney's car tells a whole lot. Here comes Freilich, a big run back to the top. Krug is going to get close to him again. Does he look high? Does he look low? He goes high. Buchanan up there as well, and Palmer goes purple. Sweeney now on that bottom side still pulls that lead back away, but momentum's going to get him on the exit of the quarter. Here comes Freilich again. Sweeney checks again. I'm surprised he's racing as hard as he is.
Yeah, Sweeney holds serve down at the bottom of the racetrack, but Freilich there on the outside, still side by side to the corner, but Sweeney using the bottom of the racetrack is going to continue with the lead down the front stretch and back across the start-finish line to complete lap number 24.
The field's starting to bunch up. You see Cuthbertson, Ray Vaughn, Missig getting in this line. Going side by side even as Missig is going to have to let Maybach go on by. Missig down to the 9th position as here comes Andrew Maybach in car number 11. Down to the inside now of Cuthbertson. You can see Ray Vaughn at that 7th spot just ahead. The field's starting to mix up.
Pretty racy to only be 25 laps into this race now. As you see Buchanan there just behind these two cars of Krug and Ray. Getting tight here as they enter turns 1 and 2. All the leaders bunch up through the corner.
Only 2 cars out of this race. Those are Eric McCarthy and William Avery in 20th and 21st. Otherwise, 19 cars still on the racetrack, and about 9 of them are in this line. Now a caution, and Nate Stewart's day is done. Maybe not, actually. That car looks almost okay. It's got damage, but he might be able to continue. Yeah, I think the wheels are straight.
The wheels are straight. It just appears he's missing the right front wing, is what it looks like to me. But how about the 13 car of Danny Staubitz there out of New York in the pit area? Lots of damage on that ride. Look at Timothy Bates right here. Don't see much damage there either. So
we'll go back and see what happens here for car number 4, the 2nd straight incident that he's been involved in. And he's going to come up on Staubitz, and Staubitz just gets the wall. Oh, man. I can only imagine what it's like to be Nate Stewart right now. Won this race last season, one of the best drivers in the field, and fortunately, 2 straight yellows. He's been the victim of somebody else's mess. This time, Staubitz up the racetrack, and again, washes up the track, into the wall. Nowhere for Nate to go.
I mean, just bad luck early in this race. But I mean, I'm not entirely sure what his strategy was. If it was, to hang out and let some laps cook down. But it seems like the back of this field is the danger zone here early.
Staubitz still in the pit lane. Nate Stewart has gotten that wing repaired. No, he is not. He's going in with everybody else. Everybody on the pit lane, they're hitting their mark here on lap 27, it looks like. Let's see where Stewart files into all of this. Our leaders are in as well. Weiser actually, though, stays out. Sweeney in. I see Galloway in. I see... no, Galloway stays out, actually. Missig is in. Just about every heavy hitter is into the pit lane, though.
And it's like you said, I guess they hit their mark of 27 laps now on lap 28 of this is when they wanted to come to pit lane, and it's almost like when the leaders came, the rest of the field decided to follow suit.
So 2 cars stay out. Dale Weiser in car 25 and Galloway in car 05, but Freilich leads the rest in, followed by Sweeney, Krug, Ray, Buchanan, Ray Vaughn, Cuthbertson, and Maybach. They make up the top 10. It's Jordan Missig in the 11th now. Palmer, Skipper, Rexford, Margenthaler, Walsh, and Nate Stewart well down the order, has gotten his car repaired. Let's see, it looks okay. It's going to be hard to say until he gets going.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see right here. Coming back up to speed out on the racetrack, going to catch up to the rest of this field. We'll have to see what kind of speed is in that car for Nate Stewart. A string of bad luck to start this race, but if he can continue on, he'll have to take that as a positive and see how things shake out for him for the rest of the afternoon.
As he gets back up to speed and sees just how bad that car might be, a couple of cars stay out here, and we should get the 1-to-go signal. We're quickly going to go side by side here at Pit Stop TV. Don't go anywhere. We're not going far for long. We'll be right back to you with our restart.
Become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome back to the virtual Michigan International Speedway. Cars at turns 3 and 4 ready to get restarted. It is lap 30 of 155, and Caleb, that means there are 125 to go as we get ready for car 25. Dale Weiser to lead us to the green flag and get this race back underway. Second place is Blake Galloway. Third is Reed Sweeney. That is the first car on new tires and fuel. Green flag is out. 125 to go, and already Weiser goes nowhere. Might have been a 6th gear start there for Weiser. And no, you know what? He might be in safety car engine map. I don't think he knows yet.
He's having some kind of issues here as he just continues to fade. Wow.
I think it took him all the way until turn. I don't think he's still at the power. I think he's in the safety car field map here. Weiser. He's got to get out of that field map. He's in 4th now, chipping the gear in 4th. He went nowhere on that restart.
I mean, he really didn't start showing speed again until maybe the entrance of turn 3, but he still faded a little bit then too as well.
He seemed like he was okay into 3 and then slowed down again out of the corner. And now he's going to run somebody over. You're kidding me. What are you doing? Oh my goodness. He just ran straight in the back of Matt Skipper and ran himself into the wall. I've never seen anything like it.
Big time issues there for Weiser, and I'm not entirely sure what it is, but he's pulled onto the pit lane. He's got heavy damage.
I'm speechless. Caution is out, and we've got another issue. Walsh and Rexford crashing on the backstretch. Jake Walsh there. Matt Skipper's involved.
This is another crash under yellow, Andrew.
I don't think the yellow was thrown for Weiser. I think this is garnering us the yellow. I think Weiser was allowed to just do his thing on the pit lane. I think this is the actual reason for the yellow. Let's go back, though, to the restart for Dale Weiser and see if we can diagnose this a little bit more. He just went nowhere on green, and let's see if we can find out. He was in 1st gear. This might show us a little better. He's in 1st gear. You can't see the fuel map that he's in. He was hesitant on the throttle and then gets going. It's lugging like he's in a safety car fuel map. I really think he was. And then doesn't shift. I think here he's trying to adjust it. Finally realizes he's in the wrong map. He's trying to adjust it. That's why he's hitting the chip. He's leaving it 3rd. Oh my goodness. Big mistakes there. Big mistakes.
Yeah, and I mean, mistakes that could have cost drivers behind him big time if they would have taken evasive action. So luckily, no one else got involved with his troubles on that start. But curious to see what happened now. He runs into the back of, I believe it's this car riding right in front of him right here.
Yeah, it's Matt Skipper that he hits, and we'll actually take Skipper's onboard as he might be out of this race now as a result. Watch this from Skipper's machine. Actually, that's wiser still. So, well, we didn't quite get to what we wanted there. Yeah, hits Matt Skipper, just runs in the back of him, and then he hits the wall on his own accord. I have never seen anything like that. Let's see what the issue was at a turn 2, though. Matt Skipper, Corey Rexford, Jake Walsh, and it looks like maybe Morgenthaler involved, maybe Staubitz, I'm not sure. Skipper up the racetrack, yup, just cleans out Jake Walsh. Classic arrow push. Well, not even arrow push, just that bottom side is no man's land. I thought we had that one covered with stock cars here, but I think some of these guys are still learning that.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps so, but within learning that caused a big crash and a lot of cars with a lot of damage, and I think it's depending on, I'm not sure exactly what cars it was, but we'll get another look at it here. But
Skipper there on the bottom lane, up the track into Walsh, and Walsh collects Rexford, and I think that's about as contained as it is, and that is the reason for yellow. What a lap for Matt Skipper. What a lap for him. He gets hit in the rear into the corner, into turn 3, and the next lap makes a mistake, washes up the racetrack, and cleans out Jake Walsh and Corey Rexford in the process. Oh boy. What I do know, Caleb, is Zach Buchanan and Spencer Ray have their hands full tonight.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen so far, and it's crazy that we're able to pull so much together here in 36 laps, but we've had a lot of trouble here, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of back when we were at Long Beach. I mean, we had a lot of trouble early and a lot of parity early in the race, and we're having a little bit of the same so far in this one.
As these guys pace under yellow, I don't see Buchanan or Ray on the pit lane, so I think this might be cut and dry as to who's at fault. And I mean, definitely it should be. Yeah, pace car lights are extinguished, so we should be restarting this time by unless something changes that. 14 lead changes, so it's been exciting for the race lead, but you see that number 4 cautions for 13 laps. It's been, I hate to put it this way, but a bit of a mess to get started. It's just been really tough for these guys to get going. I don't know. There's only 21 cars that showed up today. We've got 7 of them, it looks like, 6 of them in the pits with, I mean, destroyed race cars. Corey Rexford, he's out of the session. Matt Skipper out of the session. Jake Walsh is still here, but his car is, well, I think now he might be waiting on a service or a tow. He might not even be rejoining, even though that car looks to be repaired. Staubitz is gone. So we already lost a significant portion of this field. Rexford, Skipper, Staubitz, with Carthy and Avery are out of this race, and Nate Stewart might be here soon. This has been a rough one. That said, green flag on the way. Lap 37 now underway from Michigan, and we've still got a lot of racing to go. Cuthbert's in nicely through the gears. Now Blake Galloway and Reed Sweeney are going to do some battle. Blake Galloway, not a name I thought I'd be saying on a Pit Stop TV broadcast, if I'm being entirely honest with you, Caleb. I know nobody else might know this, but I know this guy's name from Xbox. Xbox 360, back on the NASCAR 14 and NASCAR 15 games. That's where I learned the name Blake Galloway. He was always quick over there as well, and to see him here in IORL and broadcast his racing as he defends here from Cole Fralick and Spencer Ray, 2 of the best to do it in IORL. This is pretty special. This is pretty cool to see Blake in the series and leading here at Michigan. Well, maybe now being passed by Cole Fralick, but certainly battling for the race lead here at Michigan.
Well, you saying Xbox 360, that was a throwback for me. I was a PS3 guy myself, but I know that Xbox 360 was great. You mentioned NASCAR 14, 15, lots of great races. I can remember being in online a while back, but Galloway did a great job defending right there, and here he comes again. I mean, great run so far for Galloway at the front of this field.
And Galloway slides up a little bit in front of Freilich. Bobby Krug doing battle here with Rick Ray Vaughn, who has finally marched his way up to the top 5. And the gold number 7 is working to the outside of Bobby Krug, a former champion. Galloway checks up on the top side, going to bottle these guys up, I think, out of turn 2.
Yeah, he'll bottle them up right there. Cars almost get pinched into the wall once again here. This treacherous off of turn number 2 down the backstretch has been like the area where we've seen a lot of things happen, but the battles for the lead continue on. Lap 40 now as we run of 155. Spencer Ray going to go back to the front of the field.
Spencer Ray back to point. Galloway falls back a little bit, faltering now. He's on older tires. I believe it was he might have been the only car that stayed out there. I thought Sweeney led us to the green. I think Galloway was the only car that stayed out that time and is on 24 lap old tires as Ray and Freilich do some battle here. Bobby Krug, though, powering through on the bottom up to the lead. I'm surprised he's going as far down on that racetrack as he is. It seems like the bottom lane is no man's land. There's less banking in that bottom side gear, and it tends to really cause some issues as Freilich going to force it 3 wide.
3 wide into turns 1 and 2. Krug still holding down on the bottom. Now he'll slide back to 3rd. Here comes Ray up on the top 5 as Freilich leads here down the backstretch. Now Ray will jump to the bottom of the racetrack here. Ray will take the lead into turns 3 and 4.
The ebb and flow, the moves back and forth here, it never gets old. You see one car get a run, one car stall out a little bit. These guys draft back up, and another car gets a run, another car drafts up, another car stalls out. It's absolutely fascinating to watch, and it happens in Indianapolis too. It's a little bit different in Indy, but here at Michigan, there's enough room to race, enough room to get like this and have some different lines and have that ebb and flow. It's really spectacular.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And it's crazy to me watching this race, how they fan out in the turns and everybody's trying to find their groove, and how the top's better than the bottom, and then in the straightaway they all try and get single file as quickly as possible so they can get the draft and get the run back into those corners.
Ray Vaughn takes a spot from Krug. Here comes Galloway with the run. He drops to the inside of car 51, and Ray Vaughn, oh my goodness, a massive run to the outside. Here he comes, car 7. He's so good at these Indy cars. Gets to the outside of Spencer Ray, and Rick Ray Vaughn is making a move here for the race lead on only lap 44. He's going for it.
It did not take Ray Vaughn long as he jumps to the front of this field. Got the preferred lane, I would say, on the outside here, but boy, Spencer Ray is quick down on the bottom of the racetrack right there. Going to pull back to this lead here and lead this lap across the start-finish line.
The clouds moving in. The track temp going to drop maybe. It's at 115 now. We'll see if it drops at all in the next few moments, the next few minutes, as Ray hangs on to the lead on the bottom side, but Ray Vaughn going to have a run, maybe. Ray has to pinch off the exit and maybe got a little bit loose. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this race for the lead between Ray and Ray Vaughn continues as Krug there going to try and get into this mix as well. And it seems like Krug has been hanging out in 3rd place a lot tonight. We saw him jump to the lead that one time, but so far he's been about a 3rd place car, letting these drivers battle it out, and that seems to be a safe spot for him as well.
Into turn 1, now Ray Vaughn on the bottom side, Ray up top, Krug in 3rd. You're right, he's been there the entire race so far. Bobby Krug has just been floating around. Galloway, Freilich, Sweeney, they've all been in the conversation this entire race. Grant Palmer put himself now in 7th spot, looking good. In fact, let's go on board with car number 30. I had initially misidentified him as being in a crash earlier on in the day, but he has kept that car clean. And he rides in that 7th spot, creating some good karma here for himself as he rides around. Up on the wall, too. These guys are starting to get really high in the corners. I'm surprised.
Wow. Watching these cars snake down this backstretch and how close they get to the wall is Spencer Ray jumps down to the bottom of the racetrack and will continue to hold on to that lead. I think as this race clicks on, Andrew, as we're about to complete lap number 47 and jump to lap 48, we're starting to see what drivers are able to hold at the front of this field and what cars are quick. I mean, Spencer Ray and now Ray Vaughn and Krug, they've been running this way for a while now, as long as Holloway back there in 4th. So these seem to be the guys so far in these opening stint of this race.
So the track test a moment ago, it's dropped a degree down to 114, but it's not stopping these guys. It's only helping them. As Ray goes down to the bottom side of Ray Vaughn, lap 48, and another pass for the race lead. See, when we get green flag racing like this, and I'll knock on wood just to be safe, when we get green flag racing like this, that lead change number starts to skyrocket. Now up to 21, 7 in just this run to this point off after the restart, and well, there's another one. They get 22 as Ray Vaughn goes up to the lead. That should register the 6th time by. And I think those lead changes, by the way, those lead change numbers are only at the line. I don't think that accounts for passes themselves. I believe it only registers at the line. So to have that number being, added to like this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. And we talked about it in the pre-race show that this is what Michigan produces. Lots of drafting, lots of lead changes, and high speeds. So you'll continue to see more of this. And just wait till we get down to these closing laps with 15 and 10 to go. You'll see drivers pulling all sorts of stunts to try and get the lead.
Yeah, still at 21. Ray had the lead at the line, so it does go off of the line. So Ray Vaughn's going to have this lead at the start-finish line in order for that to register as a 20-second lead change of the day. We'll see if he's able to make that happen as Ray powers back to the inside. The red number 6 looking good today. I got to be honest. I've not seen this kind of strength out of Spencer Ray in a while, as Bobby Krug nearly washes up and hits that wall. I do think Rick is holding back a little bit, and who knows, maybe Spencer's holding back as well, but I think Rick is definitely testing the waters, trying to get that race lead if he can, lead some laps, but he's always concerned more so about the last lap than lap 51, for example. So at this point, I think car 7 may be holding a little back.
Yeah, I mean, just as he takes the lead, Spencer Ray takes it back, and I think we're just in a point of this race where if you got to run, you take it. If it's something dangerous, you might not. But like you saw Spencer Ray right there, I mean, he could have lifted and maybe just rode there, but he's not. Here comes another run from Ray Vaughn. So, it's just one of those deals where when you get the run, you take it, and nobody's really trying to block those runs right now either. I think it's just, like you said, the ebbs and flows of this race.
Let's go on board with car 4. Nate Stewart won this race last season. He's now into 8th spot, drafted to the inside of Cole Freilich. Will make the look to the inside for turn 3 and drops right on down there. Puts that left front just above that seam. You've got to play the seams here at Michigan. It's a lot like Auto Club and some other tracks where I think Homestead comes to mind. You've got to try and play the lanes a little bit. You can see they're riding between the seams down the front stretch. And in the corner, Nate's going to put that car just above that very bottom seam. Maybe use it a little bit if he gets tight to help turn the car. Those seams do help turn the car a little bit. There's a difference in banking there as well, so think about adding some wedge maybe. I know that's a stock car term, not really adding wedge to an Indy car. It's not really a thing, but the point remains is Ray Vaughn might finally have this race lead, but Nate Stewart, gets loose there, but he's worked his way through the field.
What an impressive comeback by Nate Stewart to be able to come back up through this field as Ray Vaughn has the lead there, but Spencer Ray takes it back down to the bottom of the racetrack, going to try and get by. You see the race info, the left side of your screen right there. 22 lead changes, 4 cautions for 13 laps. We've had a pile of cautions at the first half of this race, but a knock on wood, like Andrew mentioned, green flag racing right now as we continue to roll on.
That track temp down to 108, so it's definitely cooled down a little bit, which really surprised me then that Nate Stewart got so loose like he did. But again, those seams can help turn the car a little bit. There's not really progressive banking here, but again, that bottom lane, a little less banking than the rest of the racetrack. And it definitely changes the way the car handles.
Nice look at these cars just holding that speed through the corner. 4 cars have kind of broken away now with Ray Vaughn, Ray, Krug, and Sweeney, all 4 pulling away from the track right now as they head into turns 3 and 4. High side of the racetrack goes Sweeney. He'll try and get this run. Krug down there on the bottom. They continue to race back to the stripe.
100 laps to go this time across the line. It's Rick Ray Vaughn with the race lead, just marginally over Spencer Ray, who takes it back across the line. Sweeney in that 4th spot. He's one of the strongest cars all day long. Fell back a little bit as of late, but starting to march his way back through. In fact, he led us to the green on that last restart. I think just trying to play the safe game, let some laps commence, and get out of the way and get back after it as Ray Vaughn now gets back ahead of Spencer Ray. Freilich and Galloway do some battle here. Freilich down to the inside of car 05 and takes that spot away. Some other cars towards the rear that we've really got to talk about. I think Zach Buchanan takes the top of the list. Champion last season in season 12. Being very careful today. He's riding in 12th.
You know, as we look on this onboard camera, someone like myself that's not as pretty to IndyCar racing it is, can you explain a little bit of like what we're seeing here with this steering wheel, with the lights and everything else? I've been curious about that as we've watched it.
We don't get a whole lot of telemetry as far as exactly what they're doing, but some of those numbers, for example, they can see their weight jacket, they can see their roll bars. It's what the boxes usually are on the bottom side. And admittedly, I haven't been in an IndyCar in a second other than to get screenshots. So I haven't raced one of these cars, don't recall exactly which number is which, but those are usually adjustments that these drivers can make. And iRacing recently opened up these Indy cars to have adjustments. As one car is way down to the inside, that is Cole Freilich on the bottom side. He's going to rejoin in the field. Oh, his car is junk. He's been in the wall, up the racetrack, don't hit anybody. Oh, we've got a crash. Morgenthaler, no, that's Cuthbertson in it. And Weiser. Oh my goodness. Wow. Timothy Bates, the car that absolutely demolished car 34 there. Hit Cuthbertson at a stop. Weiser involved. Jake Walsh gets on through. Cole Freilich, of course. Well, the catalyst in all of it. Go ahead and take a replay. And Caleb, we just found our big one of the day so far.
Yeah, big time contact there when that car came back down the race. Well, really, first car went up the racetrack, second car came down the racetrack, but you saw the debris just go haywire there after this big crash.
So Freilich at the racetrack just got tight into the wall and starts all this off. Now into three, he's having to turn way to the right, it looks like, and tries to turn to the left, just can't turn anywhere. Right in front of Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson gets hit from behind by Weiser. And then this hit for Timothy Bates. Oh my goodness. I haven't seen a hit like that in a while. Especially not with this new damage model yet. I don't think I've seen a hit like that with these new Indy cars. Or at least the new damage model on these Indy cars in some time. At least not in a broadcast.
Get another look at it right here.
Cuthbertson, he could go up the racetrack and check way up. He tries to stop, gets hit by Weiser, and I can't blame Weiser too much there. Oh my goodness.
Right there. Wow.
I do want to, so I want to see two things here with another replay or two. I want to see the onboard from Weiser. I see that here. I don't want to get that onboard from Timothy Bates' machine. That's got to be something. Yeah, I mean, that'll happen very quickly. I really can't blame him there. Timothy Bates, on the other hand, that's just inexcusable. He was still in sixth gear. He was still going way too fast. Yellow was already out. There was already crashing. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, you got to knock it down in speed if you're trying to save it through that corner. There was no way he was going to make that from the angle he took into the corner, and just cleaned out a lot of people in the process.
Watch this one more time for 28s, and you see the 6 on the steering wheel. The RPMs, do they drop? It's up to, well, 11 and change. Eventually lifts, but he doesn't ever brake. There's 2 pedals in a car. Well, 3 usually, clutch, but these guys have 2 pedals to control the speed of the car, and didn't hit the other one. I hate to come down on somebody like that, but that's just, that can't happen. Granted, Kyle Cuthbertson's race likely was altered to the point where he would need a faster pair as it is. It's still just not okay. Cuthbertson now has to take that toe back to the pit lane, and yeah, wouldn't have had to otherwise.
Yep, I would agree with you there, as we've completed 60 laps, rolling around on lap 61 now of 155, so we're under that 100 lap mark. I think the next big...
lights are off.
Yeah, so we're rolling back to a quick, well, nope, it's hard to tell with the sun when it hits those lights. I can't tell.
Base car lights are off. Briefly saw that out of the corner. Here's the onboard from Spencer Ray's machine. You can see it there. Now, if you're Spencer Ray in this case, I know you're a bit new to IndyCars here, Caleb, but if you're, you know, in Spencer's position, what do you do here on this restart? How do you play the game?
Obviously, I think you got a couple more pit stops coming up. I think the race, at least for a little while longer, is going to keep going the way it has been, just with drivers getting moves, making the runs, not necessarily blocking them, just swapping the lead back and forth. I don't think we'll see heavy blocks until 15 to 10 laps to go, but that's just me.
So, 61 of these laps complete as we take the green flag here in just a few moments. Spencer Ray leading on to lap 62. A good start there for Spencer. But of course, that one will, that gap will close up here in just one moment. Just inside of 100 laps to go. In fact, just over 90 left to the end of this race. And Timothy Bates slow across the line. We might have something to go look back at in a second. The field thinning down to 15 cars left in this one. And they all cross under our speed trot on the backstretch in that fence. Ray still leading. Ray Vaughn second. Then it's Sweeney across the line. Well, come to the line anyways. Sweeney, does he get there for second? Not quite. Let's go back and see this issue here for Timothy Bates across the line on the restart. I'm actually kind of curious as to what happened to him. This, I think, is going to be a compound issue. But he's on the inside. And there's going to be a checkup well ahead of him. Now he's in the bottom. Oh, my goodness. Fralick's in the back of Cuthbertson. Bates has a checkup to let Fralick go back on by. And in the process, he's going to get another driver a penalty. But, of course, that could be cleared by race control. What happened here with Fralick and Cuthbertson? That's what I'm curious about.
So we're going to look at it one more time right here with Fralick. Fralick actually one of those drivers who was running up front doing well. Wow, you see the checkup was in front of them, and he never saw it.
That's why you don't play restart games, kids. Just when the car ahead of you goes, that's when you go. Don't play anything too crazy. Cuthbertson and Fralick both in the pit lane now, getting damage repaired. That is why you don't play pit lane or restart games. Cuthbertson there gets his damage repaired, gets back on the track, and Fralick, well, he's in the car again, but is not going. It's been 50 seconds already on the pit timer. And he will finally pull away.
Fralick, one of those drivers.
They're both 2 laps down. Their races are done.
Yeah, I mean, and what's crazy is, like we said, Fralick was one of those drivers who was contending for this lead early in this race. Wasn't able to make his way back to the field here, as now Palmer looks to the outside of Ray. Palmer for the first time today, really getting up there and battling for the lead in this one.
Spencer Ray down on the bottom side, keeping that car above the seam. Palmer dropped down onto his right side for a second, but stays up just enough to get a run out of the corner. Ray's still leading, and you've got to have help ahead of you to really get a run. It's not like NASCAR where you can push, right? So you can't get that line moving with just help behind you and energy behind you. It's going to take getting right up to somebody and pushing them with the air a little bit to really get anything going from behind. You've got to have help ahead, and in that case, Sweeney doesn't have it. Can't pull ahead of Ray just yet. Now they have some energy moving. Now he can draft up ahead, and now has a lead into the corner. But Palmer has to give it back up, and Ray goes back ahead and through the corner. So it's just that ebb and flow. It's what we're going to see all day long. Now, as far as the steering wheel that you asked about earlier on, Caleb, the big number in the center, that is the gear. The number right at the top of it, as you can see it kind of moving around, that is the RPM, that is revolutions per minute. That's how fast the engine is turning. To the right of that is the lap count. What the driver will see there, and is actually quite helpful, is laps to the end of the race. So they can kind of gauge how they want to play their pit strategy. It doesn't render for us, unfortunately, because we don't get much telemetry, but the driver would see that. And so it would be saying right now, I think just about 87, maybe 88 to go to the end of the race. That's actually really helpful information for playing pit strategy. You'd know if you can go 30 laps, for example, and this race is looking like it might go green, the next time you want to pit is about lap, or 60 to go on that number with the lap count there, and then it'll get, of course, at 30. So you can kind of play that a little bit. Under that, they'll see the lap time and the last lap time. You'll get a couple of different telemetry numbers up there on the left side. I think gaps to cars ahead, and gaps to the leader, for example. Maybe car ahead, car behind. I don't remember exactly, but it's just basic telemetry there in basic, like the biggest part of the screen. But again, those boxes underneath, those are your roll bar adjustments, your weight jacker adjustment, which the drivers have to keep up on through the course of the race, especially in a fixed setup league like IORL. The couple of things they can do. They can change brake bias, they can change front and rear roll bars, and they can, well, anti-roll bars, I believe, and they can change weight jacker. Now, weight jacker basically just shifts weight onto the left rear of the car, or takes it off and puts it onto the right rear. So it's a quick way to fine-tune handling in a tight or loose scenario. But your roll bars really do a bit more of the work. Of course, if you soften or harden one of the roll bars, you can make that adjustment on the fly, and it really changes the way the car handles. Usually, you want to go softer in the front to get it to turn, harder in the front if you're a little bit loose, need to tighten it up, as we have a caution here. But things do change sometimes. Kyle Cuthbert's in trouble.
We'll have to see what exactly happened with that driver. Andrew, you know, looking at the lap number, I believe the last time these cars pitted, they hit their number at lap 27. We're at lap 71 now, so could we see these drivers pitting again here pretty soon?
Well, they pitted 11 laps ago on that last caution, so everybody else, you know, everybody getting that fuel, getting those tires. Shouldn't see the back of the pit lane for a while. So really, they pitted at 27, then again at 60. They're pitting on the 30s. I think that's going to be what we're looking at through the course of the day, which means then they're going to have to pit right at the end of the race if they keep that up, as Cuthbertson just got loose on his own. We've seen that a lot in turn 2.
Well, he hit that cone, so I'm curious to see if any damage. He really didn't hit it. He was slowing down at that point and kind of hit it with the side of his car.
Who was it? Bates that hit it earlier on? He hit it at like 210 at least.
Yeah, and it affected that wing, but I think the way he caught this cone right here, he's going to be just fine.
I think he was already sliding, but looks like no damage for car 34. Our leaders mostly going to stay out, but you can see a couple of takers such as Grant Palmer and Nate Stewart down the pit lane. Kind of surprised, actually, to see both of these guys coming down, as well as, I think not Zach Buchanan. There was another car that joined him, Blake Galloway. There on the white 05, and even Kyle Cuthbertson. That one is expected after sliding those tires. I am not surprised there, but Nate Stewart does surprise me.
Nate Stewart, you know, today has had an eventful 72 laps, just fuel, as you mentioned right there. I think the same thing maybe for Palmer right here.
He might have taken tires being an 8-second stop.
Yeah, looking at that now, here's a 4-second start by Galloway, another driver that pitted. He was running up near the front, so I'll have to check and look at that.
Thankfully, technology allows us to do exactly that, so we can go back and see Grant Palmer's pit stop. And car 30 into the box here. What does he do? Well, into the box now here. And yes, up on the air jacks, he will take 4 tires. So now we know. We're looking about 4.5, maybe 5 seconds for just a top off on fuel. 8 seconds if they grab tires. That's something we usually know for stock cars, but we cover IORL so infrequently now. It's us. So good to have that one in the memory bank, especially looking forward to Indianapolis next month. Under caution here, Spencer Ray, your leader, Bobby Krug second, Rick Ravon third, Reed Sweeney fourth, Zach Buchanan now in the 5th spot. Your top 9 will stay out. Nate Stewart, Grant Palmer, Blake Galloway, and Kyle Cuthbertson all pitted on this caution, but only 2 of them taking tires. Those were Palmer and Cuthbertson. Galloway and Stewart stay on their existing tires. And do pace car lights extinguish here? Yes, they do. So now the game becomes getting fuel again. Yeah, these guys are starting to think about that. They know they're close to their mark. I think they want to get to 75 if they can. So Galloway is back in. Palmer is not, actually. I think it's just about only Galloway, actually, in for fuel and tires.
Yeah, he's going to get tires here too. So I like this shot of the 8-second stop along with how long he's actually on the pit lane. You know, that's impressive numbers to be able to keep up with. As he'll roll back out on the track. I think, like I said, he's just trying to hit his mark and see how long he can stretch this thing.
I like this move from Galloway. I really do. You know, if we're hitting about 30 laps, and I don't know the exact number, it might be a little more, a little less. These guys might have enough wiggle room to be okay to the end, but if for some reason this race goes green and 30 is the number, yeah, you're going to want to... It's 80 to go here in a minute. These, well, I guess they are okay. Trying to do some quick math in my head, and it's not working. But regardless, fuel is a good thing.
Well, they're going to be coming back to the green flag this time. Spencer Ray will be leading them lap 73. They come to start lap 74 this time by right here on Pit Stop TV at Michigan International Speedway. great racing so far. Looking for even better racing as we grind down in the closing portion of this race.
Lap 74 on the way. Car 6 leading, then it's car 51 and car 7. Green flag is back out, and Ray, another good restart. Back into green, and Galloway is crashed. Blake Galloway gets turned around here. I think that was Jake Walsh with contact. And the restart, it looks like, is going to stand. So, side by side, Krug down to the bottom side of Ray. They'll battle into turn 3. Third place, Rick Ravon hangs back. It's lap 74 coming to 75 and 81 laps to go. Go back and see the issue here for Galloway. This has just been a really, really weird race, Caleb. I've not seen this many issues out of this series in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get a look at it right here. Coming back, you can see how far he is back after his pit stop, which put him back there. He didn't go, and then he got hit from the rear and spun around. So, not sure exactly what it was that caused that, but he didn't go. I mean,
you're not wrong. He didn't go, but I'm puzzled as to why a driver would drive into another car. I don't get it. Of course, his wing is dented. He gets a penalty, and he's not going to serve that. He's back in the pit lane now. Jake Walsh is. That's an odd one again. I don't understand it. That said, Spencer Ray still leads. Sweeney and Krug side by side across the line. Lap 76 now in the books. Krug and Ray Vaughn knows that, well, side by side actually. Well, no, still actually, because it's Buchanan on the bottom side who goes by Krug, or no, Ray Vaughn at least for the moment. 5 cars out front. Then it's a healthy gap back to Andrew Maybach. So really, it's just these 5 guys. If this race goes green, it's going to be tough for anybody else to get in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, these 5 cars have separated themselves from the second group, and you mentioned it earlier, they need help to be able to make these runs, and if you're in that second group, you're going to need a lot of help to try and catch these front 5 cars. As Sweeney continues to lead here, Krug going for second with Ray back there in third right now.
Watching this lead fight. The second pack on the racetrack looks like this. You've got Jordan Missig, Timothy Bates, and Grant Palmer and Nate Margenthaler. Margenthaler and Palmer go side by side. Palmer on the bottom side. Going to take that spot away. That is good for 7th. Missig and Bates do battle. Bates now back there with Stewart, and that'll complete your top 11 cars. Galloway is 1 lap down in 12th on his own. Cuthbertson then is 13th. And we've got a big fight out front as Buchanan takes the race lead.
Buchanan now down, working for this race lead. Sweeney coming back on the top side. He'll rocket down the backstretch and take this lead back. Lap 79, Buchanan trying to poke his nose back out front for the lead.
5 cars, nose to tail. They exit turn number 4. Reed Sweeney, the race leader, but not for long. Buchanan drops down to the bottom side, takes the lead away at the start-finish line. And car number 1 leading Michigan. I gotta say, as the spring goes on, we go through April, we get closer to May, these kinds of views on board on IndyCar, these kinds of sounds, they can think of one thing: the Indianapolis 500 coming up on May 18th here for the IORL International Online Racing League. It is on the way. It's the biggest race of these guys' season, where we see droves turn out and try and qualify for the race. It's getting me excited.
Yeah, look at this run that Krug gets all the way to the back bumper of Buchanan. Buchanan throws the block a little bit right there, uses the bottom of the racetrack, but you see the distance from Buchanan to Krug. Look at how quickly this closes from the help from the rest of the field here, as here comes Ray down at the bottom of the racetrack.
Spencer Ray, a big move. Still on board here with the race leader of Zach Buchanan. Cuts off the air there to Ray's machine. He falls back to Bobby Krug, and now Buchanan will be able to start to sniff the draft of that lap car ahead. I believe that's Galloway in front of these guys, and it is. The Buchanan will be able to use that drive on the backstretch. He might be able to pull clear Bobby Krug for a second, but they also might just kind of incorporate Galloway into the battle. We'll see what they do. Yeah, you see Zach Buchanan down to the bottom side using that draft, snaking back up to the wall. Where does the lap car go? right in the middle now, bottom side of the racetrack. That's going to be a problem here for Buchanan.
Buchanan back to second now. Back to second now. Goes back to the lead. He will get that lead here as Krug is there in
that's a lap car.
second.
That's a lap car on top of the racetrack. That white car is Galloway. Now 2 laps down in car 05.
I got that mixed up with Sweeney there, I believe. Yeah. Well, no, Galloway's back up. I mean, I guess he's trying to get those laps back racing with these leaders right now, and he's holding serve after the trouble he was in.
They just caught him. He's going to get incorporated into this battle. It's kind of like Daytona sometimes where you pick up a lap car inadvertently, like Daytona 500, and he's just going to be incorporated in this battle. It's tough when you're a lap car, though, and you're racing around the leaders. You want to be respectful, but you also want to keep your race alive, and he might need to race these guys a little bit for his lap back.
I mean, you know this better than I do, but is there really much he can do with where he's at right now? I mean, I guess he could lift and fall out, but he would really just kind of take himself out of contention altogether.
He would, and in the case where it's, sure he didn't go on the restart, but he didn't need to get hit. He's not going to just drop out of contention. It's not like he knows that it was his fault or anything, and he got run over on the restart. I don't think he's going to bow out of this competition as a whole. I think he's going to keep with these guys and see if there's an opportunity for him to get that lap back. He does let the most of this lead pack go on by, which is good on him, but the league does allow lap cars to fight.
Yeah, I mean, he no doubt caught me off guard. I mean, to be a lap car, he kind of just faded into the picture, and then he held his speed pretty well. But right now, the battle's heating up here as these cars fanning out. This group kind of tightening back together here with the rest of the field.
Ooh. Bobby Krug, a big move there down to the bottom side. One more time across the line. Buchanan leads. Krug now down to the bottom, and he will go for that race lead. Can't go too low on the racetrack. Does hook that that bottom seam. Gets ahead of car number 1 and has the lead spot.
Nice speed shot of how fast these cars are coming by here on the backstretch. Buchanan now down to the bottom of the racetrack. He will retain that lead from Krug here. Lap 86 coming around to start lap number 87. We ride on board with Grant Palmer right here. Comes across the stripe, lap 87. Palmer with a nice day so far in this 30 machine, sitting there just outside the top 5 and 6th.
He's been kind of up, down, all around, but quietly. He really hasn't been all that high up on the list too often. He's been first a couple of times, led a few laps. You see 2 laps led there for him so far for starting 15th. A quiet day for him. Just trying to work on a nice little finish, and hey, he's in the top 5, almost top 5 anyways, with about half a race to go. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's kept himself in contention, so as these laps play on, he might just be one of these guys who could sneak up there and win this race. Krug right now showing his speed. You know, we talked about Krug being about a third-place car, running there in third, but now Krug's starting to flex his muscle a little bit and show how quick he really is. But here comes Buchanan back to the lead.
No surprise to me that Buchanan wants to go win this race. He's not where he wants to be. The points comes into this race. Quite a ways down the order, in fact, in the 7th position. He needs these points. He needs to go win this race, honestly, to keep his season alive. And if you look through the rest of the schedule as well, it's a week off next week, then Texas. That is always usually pretty hectic with Indy cars. He's got to be on top of things here. He's got to turn his season around if he wants to defend his championship.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, it could start right here at Michigan. Looks back to the inside of Krug here into the turn. He will pick that lead back up now, coming around here back to the stripe, I believe this time. Yep, back here to the front stretch, comes down across the stripe. Krug gonna try back. I'm not sure. I can't tell who led that lap. I think it was Buchanan.
Krug pulls away for just a moment. And as these tires wear on, as they're starting to do, I mean, they have 30 laps on these tires, some of these guys. Granted, some of those are caution laps. As these laps wear on, it's going to get tougher and tougher to make these moves. They aren't going to be able to race like they have been. When that point sets in, when these tires start to really wear out, we're going to start to see some drivers all over the place having to really get out of the throttle. Timothy Bates, in fact, coming on by Grant Palmer for the 6th position. Bates, with, again, some of the oldest tires. Palmer's actually got some of the best tires in the field, or at least pitted more recently. And then, of course, he took tires like Ellen. We saw that. He was one of those drivers that did take tires with that 8-second stop. I'm surprised he's falling back like he is. Back up front, Buchanan back to the point. Ray and Sweeney sitting in behind, and Ray Vaughn there as well, just kind of in this train. And this is the point in the race, Caleb, where you start to position yourself. You start to think about the end of the race. You're getting closer and closer, only about 60 laps to go. So you got to start to think about how you're going to play this thing out to the end and when you're going to
B. Krug once again back to the front of this field. Might try and throw a block there on Buchanan. Can't make it happen. Here's Rayvon now back there in third place. Nice on board here. Look at the shot of the leaders here. Buchanan now drops behind Krug to get a little bit of a draft here. Here comes Rayvon. He'll close back up. 2:35 at one point down the straightaway.
The gyro cam into the corner as he goes up to the top side of the banking, and cars pitting this lap. You see Krug and Buchanan peel off to the pit lane. That leaves Ray Vaughn in the lead for the moment, but he should come in this next time around maybe. There's Bobby Krug. Zach Buchanan pits out of second spot. Timothy Bates comes down. Jordan Missig. Actually, Bates continues. It's Missig, Maybach, I think. Markenthaler. They all pit. Ray Vaughn stays out. Spencer Ray behind. They should come in this time, maybe next. With just under, well, actually, it is 55 to go this time. Coming to 54.
I mean, we'll have to keep a lookout, but with these fuel runs, they're going to have to pit at least one more time, right, Andrew?
Yes, we will see one more pit stop after this. This is not the money stop just yet, but it's
might as well be. I mean, you got to have a good one here too.
Maybe the credit card stop. Maybe the credit card stop. Not quite the money stop yet.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, with these laps winding down, 54 to go, you can't have a hiccup here that could put you out of contention. You need something that's quick that keeps you in there. As Rayvon continues to lead over Sweeney and Palmer, we'll see if these drivers want to pit this time by. Doesn't appear they will, but maybe here comes Palmer down pit lane.
So Palmer in. Of the cars that have pitted so far, Spencer Ray is leading them all only because he's coming out of the pit lane. So Buchanan should come on by here in a moment. Buchanan was ahead of Ray at time of the pit stop. And in fact, he's just behind the race leaders. You can see Sweeney, actually, those might not be the race leaders, actually. Those might be a different pack of cars. But he'll, oh boy, look at this. Fralick down low with a slower car. Cuthbertson slower up top, and Ray was there as well. So Spencer Ray and Zach Buchanan come out on top of each other. Reed Sweeney will come down to the pit lane. Ray Vaughn stays out one more lap, and that's dangerous. Just like in NASCAR, Caleb, if you stay out too long, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you kind of, I would say you want to be in the middle, but you definitely want to be closer to the side of pitting first than you do pitting last. I mean, pitting last, unless you get a caution.
Pitting last is good for fuel, but it's bad for speed.
Right, no doubt. I mean, you're going to have more fuel for the later run. That's if it goes green the whole way, but speed-wise does not help one bit because these drivers who pit earlier are getting on fresh tires and are just making up that distance you've created on them.
Nate Stewart in this little gaggle. He is second. He is not pitted yet. He is 6 seconds behind our race leader, Rick Ray Vaughn. Grant Palmer has pitted. Reed Sweeney has pitted. And they are exiting the pit lane. Here's Sweeney up onto the racetrack. Palmer is ahead. Palmer with a fantastic run through the pit lane. Only 8 seconds. That's a second less than Sweeney and Ray. I wonder what held them back. And Buchanan even took 10.1 seconds in the pit box. So maybe some optional damage those guys had to get fixed. So here we go. Ray Vaughn into the pit lane.
Well, he's coming down the pit lane now, but you mentioned optional damage, and I guess that would have been the stop to get it fixed. You know, you have one more stop ahead of you that you can try something quick on, but Ray Vaughn will pull into the pit lane now. We're expecting probably another 8-second stop here as he's going to get tires and fuel.
Rick Ray Vaughn, 9 seconds, almost 10. That's going to slow him down a little bit. I think Grant Palmer might have the race lead after this. He's got 2 seconds on Spencer Ray currently.
Well, he's coming back here, and he's more than definitely going to have the lead here as Ray Vaughn just now coming off of pit lane, whereas Palmer's coming by full song here on the front stretch.
Sweeney to the inside of Spencer Ray. Palmer leading. Well, at least going to be leading, it looks like, as there goes Palmer on by Rick Ray Vaughn, and Nate Stewart hasn't pitted just yet. Remember, he comes down at the end of every caution. He gets fuel, he tops off. That's the stock car strategy, as he's in this big gaggle of cars on the backstretch. Tops off on fuel in case of these scenarios. If we get a caution now, think of the situation he's in. That puts Missig and Bates 1 lap down. They've got to stay out and get the wave around. Everybody else, and actually they wouldn't be able to stay out. They would be stuck a lap down because everybody else would have just pitted. Unless those drivers elect to come down and top off back on fuel. But if it comes out where there's even a larger gap and he's able to go lap some of these guys and hold them a lap down, That's why you stay out longer. That's exactly a strategy to pull. And in this case, he's got draft. He's able to keep going pretty fast here. He's not holding himself back by being out there as a single car. So this is not a bad play from Nate.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, it's almost kind of what he's got to do here in this situation. Whoa, we see some close calls there just in front of him.
Linebacker with some contact, I think. Hangs on to it after contact with Morgenthaler, and yeah, Nate Stewart just riding around 6th gear, not even using fifth. He's using less fuel as well as those guys that were racing, dropping into 5th gear and using that extra fuel. Ray Vaughn has taken the spot back away from Palmer, by the way. They are only a 10th or so apart with Sweeney another second back, Ray and Buchanan in tow. When does Nate Stewart pit? I mean, he's almost a 45 to go. He can't quite go from here, I don't think. Is he going to try and pull a one-stop? Is he going to try it?
I mean,
these guys, it's not like stock cars. These guys do have fuel maps to try and use. He could be in a lower fuel map, trying to burn less fuel, try and split the difference here and make it a one-stop race. This is going to be 39 laps this next time by the start-finish line if he doesn't pit. With 45 to go, it's close. He only needs a few more.
He's gonna have to get, I would say, what would you say, Andrew? Anywhere between 7 to 15 more laps out of this run, maybe?
Well, no, I think he pitted on the last yellow, and he's gone now 39 laps. If we're at 45 now, 45 to go, and he's done 39.
So he's definitely in that window.
About 5 more. Be safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that obviously no cautions.
And he can do it with less. He can do it with 2 or 3 from here. It's just going to take more saving on the back end of this run.
Right, no doubt. I mean, an interesting move, though. We talked about at the beginning of this race, strategy is one of those things that plays beneficial here, and Nate Stewart pulling it out of the hat here.
He just might be able to. He's drafting off of these cars ahead, Jordan Bissick and some others. I don't want to leave this yet, just in case he's able to go. I want to make sure we see when he pits. Not pitting this lap, he would have been slowing down by now. Still pulling that draft off the cars ahead that are moving around, battling. They're only helping him right now. They're only ensuring that his strategy has a chance. 43 to go now across the line. He's run 41. He's almost to his mark. If he can split it 42 and 42, that might work out. Oh, tight there in the aero push. If he can go 1 lap extra, I think he's definitely in the good.
Well, we know he can get to that 1 lap good mark, but we know everybody else is going to have to pit one more time, so this will put Stewart in the prime spot if he can make this happen. It's looking good for him right now.
Absolutely, it's looking good. That's the mark. That's 42. It's 42 laps completed, 42 to go. The problem with that, of course, is that's 42 laps completed from a caution. So there were some laps run under that yellow that he was able to use less fuel. So he's got to get another lap or 2 of insurance here, I think, and go to 43 or 44 on this run just to be safe. I think if he can hit 40 to go, if he can complete lap 115 here in a moment, I think he might be good to the end. This is impressive.
Very much so, and it makes you beg the question why other drivers didn't try and pull this off. I mean, it seems like he's
because
figured
they were worried
out
about track position. They thought we would have more yellows, and this is what he does every time. He plays that stock car strategy of just hanging back, keeping his race in peace, and worrying about the strategy more so than the track position. He's racing the race, not the other cars. I love it. Here he comes. So this might be the insurance that he needs. 43 laps there, and he's going to have 40 to go. I like it. I think it's going to work.
Well, only time will tell here for that 4 car of Nate Stewart, but he's coming down pit lane. Obviously, probably going to be 4 tires and fuel here, so looking to hit around that 8-second stop on the head here. That is going to turn the lead back over to Rick Rayvon.
These guys work through 3 and 4. Rayvon with the spot for now over Sweeney. And Stewart's in his box. Let's see when he pulls away. 6 seconds, 7, 8, 9.5. Yes, 9.5 seconds. Good stop. He's going to be behind these guys, but if he can sort out into some draft, this is going to be one big brain move. Seriously, this is going to be huge for him. All he needs is some draft help in this run. That's all he needs. I don't see much though. Well, maybe. Here comes Timothy Bates. Not Timothy. Who is that? That's a lap car. Is that Missig? It's not. Who is that behind him? How does
Is it Krug?
I think that's Krug. How did Krug end up a lap down? Did he get a penalty?
Well, I don't know. We're going to have to... I don't know if that's definitely Krug behind him.
They link up. They both want this draft. Very smart play there by Bobby Krug to get in the draft of Stewart. Now, Nate's probably going to try and get him on by him at some point. As they pass Galloway on the bottom side of the racetrack there, coming back out of the pit lane. I'd imagine Stewart's going to try and get Krug on by him at some point. This is a really, really good play from Nate as long as it works. And he can still save fuel here. He's still got a decent cushion to work with. Some 20 seconds at least, I'd imagine. As here we go, Sweeney to the inside. These guys might be racing for second.
Yeah, I mean, Sweeney continues to lead this one right now over Rayvon. Rayvon back there in second. Like I said, these drivers could be racing for second, but you never know what's going to happen. So right now you have to take this as the race for the lead, which it is right now on the track. But with the strategy and all these drivers having to pit one more time, it's obviously going to turn the lead back over to Stewart. So, I mean, what do you do if you're these drivers? It's almost like you've kind of made your bed. You got to lay in it now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You just got to go out there and hope for a yellow at this point. Put yourself in a position to win this race. Buchanan, that steering angle out of the corner, that scares me a little bit, but these guys just have to keep their race together. Just keep the car on the racetrack, complete laps, and hope for a yellow. There's not a whole lot else you can do if you're aware of the strategy. If you're not aware of the strategy, you keep on racing, right? Pay no attention to Nate Stewart, and really I think they should. Just absolutely ignore the 4 car. Just go out there, run your race at this point, and hope a yellow comes on the way. 36 to go that time across the stripe. Sweeney back to point. Now, as far as Nate Stewart, he's in 8th, and he's got Galloway, it looks like, on the inside, and Krug there as well. Lets them go on by. He can use up a little bit of time, but he's still got to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, he's still kind of on the edge of that number, so he's got to be careful here. Just stay in this draft and try and save as much fuel as possible.
Sweeney and Rayvon, they continue to go after it. I think Buchanan knows. I think he absolutely knows these guys are going to have to pit. He might try and save a little bit of fuel here to diminish his pit stop length, right? If you can save a little more fuel, pit stop won't take quite as long. You can save a few tenths in the pit lane. That might be the move here. If you're car number 1, just try and save a little bit of time in the pits. Palmer is sitting back as well, just kind of biding his time.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think at some point, knowing what kind of strategy Stewart's on, you got to make some kind of move that can try and help yourself at least get to the front of the cars you know you're racing with right now.
Morgenthaler and Missig, they do some battle on the front stretch. Morgenthaler losing that spot for the 6th position of Jordan Missig, who works on through. And he's only about 4 seconds back of Zach Buchanan. I don't think that time is going to be made up, certainly not by magic, but he's not very far back, all things considered. If there's a mistake ahead, he can absolutely try and capitalize on it. A top 5 is not out of the window just yet for car 48, nor is it out the window for car 35. And everybody else is about split up. So you've got the battle for the race lead, you've got the battle here for 6th, and you've got Nate Stewart in the 8th position, just trying to save some fuel. Let's go on board of them here as Krug and Galloway go back and forth. Now, to be clear, Krug and Galloway, they're not battling for position. They are each separated 1 lap, but Krug is only 1 lap down, Galloway 2 laps down, as Stewart's going to go to the inside of Blake and move on by.
Stewart will get by him right there, and we'll pull up behind Krug here. Obviously trying to stay behind him, stay in this draft. That'll help him save more fuel. I mean, right now, everybody's just kind of riding. Not something we thought we would see. The only thing that would change this is a caution, but right now, Stewart's happy where he's at. Rayvon's kind of got what he's got. Everybody's riding. Rayvon's hoping for a caution, and Stewart's hoping this thing goes green. He's got enough fuel to get him to victory lane.
And at this point, Caleb, it's just a waiting game. All we can do is sit here and wait and see how this race plays out. As there we go. Rayvon down at the bottom side. Fralick goes on a lap down. He's now 21 laps down. Sweeney goes on by. I think that's another lap. I think that's Bates. I think they just lapped. And it is. So it really is just a waiting game. 31 laps to go. 30 to go this next time by. The pit lane is open, and the pit window now is open for these drivers. Do they come in, or do they wait? I'd imagine they play that waiting game as well. They try and go to the end if they can. I highly doubt it. They'd have to go 45 laps in some cases, if not more. Ray Vaughn was the last of these guys, and yeah, he'd have to pull a 46-lap run, 45-lap run to the end. These other guys definitely can't do it.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, stretching it by a long shot there, so definitely gonna have to have that one. Gonna have to have one more pit stop.
Oh yeah, Rick was in 4th gear out of 2. There's no way he's saving. He doesn't care.
Yeah, no doubt. They're just trying to. I mean, I think if you're these guys, you've got to think that the only way in this race is if a caution comes out. So try and get as high up this leaderboard as you can with the drivers that are on the same strategy as you, and hope it shakes out.
All you can do. Inside of 30 to go. The lead change number, let's see where that's at. It's got to be, 44 lead changes in this race. Once we got into this green run, and we'll knock on wood, especially for Nate Stewart's sake, it's been fantastic racing up front. These guys leapfrogging back and forth as we expected, as we knew we would see, but fantastic stuff. And the strategy game has been great as well, watching these guys go back and forth. These guys need a yellow, though.
No doubt about that. But I mean, a negative. A caution can happen at any point. But a negative to this right now is these cars are so separated. I mean, the likelihood for a caution is just dwindling away the more these cars get separated out into their different groups. So he's right on board with Spencer Ray right here. 27 laps led today. A good day for him so far. He sits there in 3rd.
Oh.
And as I say that, we see a little blip right there.
That's an easy cause for concern. Easy cause for yellow, potentially, if Rick Ray Vaughn blinks a bit more. Cars 9, 7, 6, 30, and 1. The top 5, I think these guys are safe enough. They will be able to race and go back and forth like this without causing an issue. Missing and Morgenthaler scare me a little bit, only because I don't know exactly how they race anymore. I know Jordan Missig was a pretty big name in the Nork iRacing series. Morgenthaler, a veteran here in IORL, but I haven't seen them around each other. I don't know how their connections will hold up. So we'll see how that goes. Timothy Bates, Bobby Krug, they might be battling here soon. And Andrew Maybach is actually on the pit lane. That car has been there for some time, over about 20 seconds now. He's taking a long stop. He is now 4 laps down behind Kyle Cuthbertson, who rides, I believe, on his own, and he does. So his race, of course, has gone, well, south pretty quickly. Morgenthaler and Missig, they're side by side on the turn 3, so battle's still going on. But again, they're not racing for the win, I don't think. The longer this race goes green, the better Nate Stewart looks.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, that's what he's hoping for. He's got to have it go green. It's looking better and better for him as we click under around 25 laps remaining here in this race. He's kind of in a perfect spot. I mean, he found 2 cars that he can draft with to save fuel. You know, you don't see him trying to necessarily get to the front of that group, but he's just kind of trying to hold on and save gas. I mean, that's it.
Doing everything he can to save fuel, likely in a higher fuel mat, trying to run a more lean mix, burn less fuel. Keeping it in 6th gear, probably lifting, not running full throttle down these straightaways. Just getting up close to Galloway, lifting a little bit. Doing everything he needs to do here. It's 5 seconds off of Missig, but he has, in fact, lost about 10 extra seconds since he got back on the racetrack. 10 extra seconds or so to Reed Sweeney. That concerns me quite a bit. And Missig and Morgenthaler, in fact, Missig actually has dropped way off the pace recently. I wonder if he's got damage. Yes, he does. He's been on the wall.
Not what you want to see if you're Mr. Nate Stewart. You want to see everybody stay on their P's and Q's and stay clean. So,
well, the fact that he's still going is great for him. That's,
yeah, no doubt.
We'll see what happens here. Missig battling, of course, with Nate Morgenthaler. I saw a little preview of it. Getting a caution. You're kidding me. And it's Timothy Bates. Everything is turned on its head. This was almost a yellow with Jordan Missig. He comes down here and slaps the inside wall. And this race has just changed drastically. Car 21 brings out a yellow. We'll find this one and pull up a replay. Oh, this is inexcusable. Watch it at turn 1. That's a shame. If his car isn't, if he's able to continue, I hope he's parked. That is ridiculous. The race has completely changed because somebody went straight into a wall on his own. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what it appears for Timothy Bates.
It'd be one thing if he made a little mistake and came out of the corner a little too much. I mean, Missig's issue was completely fine. You know what? Okay, I'll hear you out, Ray. I think that's Ray Dolly. If that's a computer issue, that's one thing as well. But
it's such a big deal because of the impact it has on the race.
It is. It's simple. You can't have that. If it is a computer issue, I eat my words. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Ray. I appreciate that comment, actually, but I hate to kind of take a personal jab, but he had a terrible moment into 3 earlier where he ran in the back of Matt Skipper, right? I don't know. He just went straight. The saving grace is that that wheel does go straight all of a sudden. It doesn't, he's not turning here. So the wheel might have come disconnected. Take one more look. One more look. We can go a little bit further back. I can tell you everybody up front, they're pitting. That's, everybody on the lead lap is just taking tires and fuel. That's no surprise there. Ray, I appreciate that. Again, that's a good point. I am looking for something weird here out of the steering. He holds the wheel perfectly at the same angle here, right there, straight lines. If it's a computer issue, you would think you would turn back to the left. Now, the way it comes back to center, I think there might have been a wheel issue. It's center there. That's not normal. That is odd. I'll give him that. But if that's anything outside of a hardware issue or whatever, that's inexcusable. That can't be allowed to happen. He's still in the pit lane, hasn't taken a fast repair yet. We'll see how that goes. But I might have to eat my words on that one. It's still just, I mean,
it's hard to see for somebody like Stewart who was on the strategy call, where just to prove a point, to show you how crazy of a strategy it was, he's the only one who was on that strategy. He's the only one who thought, maybe I can make this work. So, like you said, he races the race rather than competitors, and it almost proved to be the move for him.
So, Nate Stewart now is 8th. And he's not been very racy today. He's not gotten up there and raced a whole lot. In fact, he's been as high as first only on that that green flag run that we just had with those 11 laps led. We'll see what Nate can do here on this restart. With those 11 laps led, I wonder if that's a bonus point. I don't recall if that is a bonus point for these guys or not for getting laps led. But if he's playing the season game of trying to put himself a championship season together, he's going to have to really get racy here. If you look at the standings, he comes in 53 points back of Matt Chubb, who isn't here. So really he's racing to Reed Sweeney. He's still a good ways out. We'll see how this works out for car 4, but Rick Ravon going to lead us to the green flag. Hangs down to the inside of the racetrack a little bit. And with 19 laps to go, we resume competition. Two by two, 2 rows deep up front. 4 cars going after for the race lead. Palmer down to the inside of Ray. And it sounds like, for Timothy Bates, it was a back spasm, and I will happily eat my words there, and hopefully Timothy is okay. It's so weird when you see that kind of thing. when you do see a car go straight into the wall, the first thing you think, we've seen this in other series, I won't call anybody out, but in other series where drivers just give up. And that's my first instinct is, oh, somebody just gave up, they ran in the wall, and that's that. They just decided to quit, and unfortunately impact the race for everybody else. That's where my brain goes first, because I've seen it so many times recently on iRacing, and it's such a careless thing to do. In that case, it's entirely different, and definitely hope Timothy's okay. Hopefully he's able to get that one under control. And in fairness, in 155 laps of racing, that's a long race. Maybe a bit long for some people. And that kind of thing is not out of the question.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, one thing it has set us up for, though, is a shootout to the finish now. We've gotten a little under 20 laps to go here in this race. Just under that coming around here with Spencer, Ray, Sweeney, Rayvon, Palmer, Buchanan, Stewart there in 6th. He's made up 2 spots since the restart of this one. So
Palmer.
It's going to be a shootout to the finish. 3 wide.
16 to go that last time by. Sweeney in the middle. Ray down low, Palmer up top, Ray Vaughn sitting behind him now. Playing the long game as per usual. Nate Stewart having to race these guys. He's capable of racing them. He just hasn't done much today, so we'll see how this goes for him down to the inside of Buchanan. When you play a strategy race, when you stay out of the battles for most of the day, it does sometimes kind of take a little bit to warm you back up. So in a sprint like this to the end, inside of 20 laps to go, sometimes you're a little bit rusty with some of the moves. You might make an over-ambitious move. We'll see how that goes for Stewart. As Ray down to the bottom side follows Sweeney through the corner. He pushes up a little bit, slows down, gives up a little bit of time, but stays side by side with Palmer. 14 and a half laps to go. One car spins. It's his Margenthaler. Yellow is out again, and he noses it into the wall.
Good bit of contact right there to the inside of the wall right there. You see the suspension damage, that wheel looking like it's about to come off. Hard hit to that inside wall here, and you see the front nose peeling off, so it could be the end of the day for that driver.
And Bobby Krug had literally just pitted. He took the wave around to get his lap back, and he should stay on the lead lap, but he would have preferred staying out. He was just about in that lead group when he pitted. Let's go back and see this issue from Margenthaler. This will be a good bit of lead up to the issue here for car 35. And is it another one of those issues out of turn 2? We've seen so many drivers get loose out of turn 2. They just either drop down to the bottom side on that bottom lane or hook a seam or whatever. Let's see what happens here for car 35. Also seen that where they push up into the wall. Oh, he just couldn't get it stopped. I'd like to hear your input on this one, Caleb, but I think at some point there, you got to release the brake, let the car turn back around on you. It's tough to do because you see the wall approaching quick. You want to just hold that brake, but right here, release that brake, get the front wheels to turn, get the nose to grip. He does it a little bit too late, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think people obviously your initial reaction when you're heading on something is to hold the brake and hopefully stop the car, but you also have to understand with these kind of cars, it's kind of the same thing with stock cars. When you lay on that brake like that, you're not going to be able to navigate that car any direction other than where it's headed. So it's a straight shot into that wall. Whereas, like you said, if you let off that gas, then you can turn the wheel, get the car spun around, perhaps put some throttle back into it and turn it a different direction and save a little bit of that impact.
The good news for Nate is he is back on the racetrack with a fresh car and saved his fast repair to this point. Now, if you're Nate Stewart or a fan of car number 4, he exits the pit lane behind Zach Buchanan, our reigning champion. If you're a fan of Zach Buchanan, I think this is your chance. He's looked racy today. We're going to have about 10 laps to go with the restart, maybe 12 or 11. In fact, pace car lights are still on, so we should get the one to go next time by as Graylick has waved around the pace car. He is many laps down, so it won't have much impact on the race, but he does get one lap back, and that's always helpful as a driver. Maybach is still on the pit lane. Looks like he's done. Just hasn't gotten back in the car in 9 laps. Bates is still on the pit lane. Walsh is back out there, but he is some 60 laps down.
Well, what a day it's been for the Jake Walsh machine in that 33.
You don't usually see that in an IndyCar race. 60 laps down. That's it's still running, I should say. Usually at that point, it's out of the race. I wonder how he got there.
up and down day, obviously, for him. See if the lights go out on the pace car this time. I think they will, Andrew. Let's see here.
Reed Sweeney leads us across the line, and we should, yes, we do have the 1-to-go signal for these guys, which begs the question, how does this one go? Who gets the jump on the restart? Well, of course, it's Reed Sweeney. We'll get the best jump, but who gets the jump behind him? Who plays the restart games? Who takes that risk? And, of course, track temp is back up to 113. It's getting hot out there.
Yeah, I mean, the track temp is picking up here. The highest we've seen it so far is 112. It got back down to 108. Now it's back up to 113. The wind's still sitting at about 5 miles per hour, up to 6 a little bit right there. But 78 degrees is still the track temp, or still the overall air temp here. So what you got is what you got here. Coming around, it's going to be 11 laps to go here at the restart. This is what we kind of hope for, you know, a shootout here at Michigan style. Multiple groove tracks, fast track. We're getting ready to see some good racing here to the finish.
And the reason we bring up these track temps, the top 5 are on old tires. That is Sweeney, Palmer, Ray Vaughn, and Missig. They're on old tires, the 5 of them. Then Bobby Krug had just pitted before the yellow, so he cycles into 6th now. Zach Buchanan is 7th on new tires. Nate Stewart's 8th on new tires. They both pitted. Galloway is still out there on old tires. It's been 29 laps since he's visited the pit lane. Margenthaler's out there on 2-lap old tires. He just pitted. And behind that, those guys are all a lap down or more. In fact, Cuthbertson, 2 laps down, has run 31 laps since his most recent pit stop. So, green flag back out, 11 laps to go. Old tires up front, new tires behind them. Let's see how this one goes. Grant Palmer, big run to the inside, going to take this lead away from Reed Sweeney. A big move from car 30, going to bring Spencer Ray in tow. He takes a look now to the bottom side of turn number 3, goes to the inside of Reed Sweeney. We've got a proper fight for the win. 10 to go this time by.
10 to go here at the stripe. Cars racing for second place out of the track right now. That's Spencer Ray and Sweeney. Palmer continues to lead this one. Here comes Ray Vaughn on the outside, just in front of Ray. 4 cars all racing for the lead down in turns 1 and 2.
With Ray Vaughn up top. Reed Sweeney following Grant Palmer. Now down to the inside goes car 9. Ray Vaughn's clear low. He's going to go high, though. 3 wide down the backstretch. Ray Vaughn with the biggest run, and he's going to take that second spot as Sweeney is able to hang on to the lead. Bobby Krug sitting behind him. He is on those new tires in 5th.
Sweeney will hold on to that lead, but more challenges are going to come. Palmer now looks to the inside. He's the new leader as they head off into turns 1 and 2. Sweeney back to 2nd. Ray Vaughn 3rd. That's Ray 4th and Krug up to 5th.
Krug, the first car on new tires. A little bit tight there out as 2. He is definitely pushing these tires. Here we go. Side by side for the race lead. Once again, Ray Vaughn, Palmer. Ray Vaughn hangs on his door, hangs on his side pod, takes some air away. 1 car loose. That's Jordan Missig with a catch there on the bottom side. A fantastic save, and he's dropped out of this lead battle. Palmer 2nd across the line. Isn't quite clear. Now Ray Vaughn's clear down low.
Ray Vaughn down low is clear. He'll throw the block on Palmer. Sweeney up on the top side of the racetrack. That's where the race looks to be right now between Ray Vaughn and Sweeney. Here comes Ray with a nice shot down the backstretch. Look at the blocks that Ray Vaughn is throwing over Sweeney.
Reed Sweeney now battles to his outside on his side pod. That's how Ray Vaughn got the lead a few laps ago. As here we go, Palmer up the racetrack, nearly into Spencer Ray. And Nate Stewart looks down to the bottom side. Can't quite get there, but car 4 is here.
That 4 car of Nate Stewart is here in this battle. He said, throw the strategy out of the window. I can drive up through this field and win this race. He's now racing the competitors.
Checks up. Ray Vaughn, big block down to the inside, down in front of Sweeney, all the way down to the bottom. 3 wide across the backstretch. As here we go, Grant Palmer up top, 3 abreast. The Menards yellow color is up top. He's got to back out of it. Ray follows in behind, single file for a moment. Sweeney with a run. He can't go anywhere.
Nowhere to go for Sweeney down on the bottom of the racetrack right now. Palmer and
Cole. Spencer Ray hard on the fence. And a yellow flag surely to come out for that one, I would imagine. No yellow yet. As Cuthbertson's going to loop it out of 2. That should be a yellow. We stay green for now. Yellow, there it is. Oh, another car. Who hit him?
Somebody came into that late and hit him as he was spinning down the racetrack.
The Jake
Is
Walsh
that,
machine, car 35.
Yeah. Yep.
And this might end the race. If we go back green, it'll be a one-lap shootout, I think. This might end it here. Let's go back and look here for first for Spencer Ray. Car 6. He's going to get put in the fence, I think, by Grant Palmer. And yes, there was some contact there. I'm not sure if Palmer turned up or if Ray came down. Cuthbertson loops it out of 2. He was flirting with that line again on the bottom side, loses it. How does Walsh get in this? I mean,
come on.
I want to see one more view. I want to see one more view before I have an opinion. I know I've jumped the gun twice today, so we'll hold myself back on that one. Palmer and Ray, though, I want to see that first. Into one. I guess we can just watch the onboard here with Spencer Ray. That'll tell us a whole lot. Watch Palmer. Watch Ray. I think Ray came down, I think, just ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. And now here's Jake Walsh. Now, watch this and think about it at 230 miles an hour. He comes up the racetrack, and it's slow reaction time, but I think he was genuinely trying to miss Kyle Cuthbertson. I really do think he was genuinely trying to miss the 34 car.
Yeah, and I mean,
it looks bad at first, but I think he was trying to miss him.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we definitely hope for, but more cars into this now, limping around the racetrack. Laps are winding down. Could be the end of this one. One-lap shootout. Struck at the wrong time.
We might get 2. Pace car lights are on. I think admins might let this go to the end of the race. I don't think you need an admin review now. I think you just need to get this race restarted, let these guys fight it out. We'll have 3 to go at the line. 153, 154, 155. That's 3 to go at the line. So our best case scenario here, Caleb, is 2 laps to the end of the race, a green-white checkered IndyCar style. These guys do not extend the race. They do not extend the race, just like IndyCar. They do not extend the race for green-white checkers like NASCAR. So this is going to be close. If for some reason this has to be reviewed and the admins have to pull in, that ends the race. But if we get the one go single this time, watch out for Reed Sweeney, watch out for Grant Palmer. Rick Ray Vaughn's going to be a sitting duck.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see here as these laps are winding down. We'll see what happens with the pace lights right here. Surely they would go out this time and we would get that quick shootout to the finish.
We'll see here. Barney with that yellow flag high in the air. Do pace car lights extinguish, please? Yes. Lights are off.
Yes.
And just for some proof here, if we can get the pace car. Try and get the pace car here. That's not going to show it. One of these cameras should show well, you can see his arms in there. He's steering that car nicely. Anyways, you can see pace car lights are off. We are restarting this time. We will have 2 laps to go. Thank you, iRacing.com safety vehicle for that one. Who do you take here, Caleb?
Ooh, I want to go with Stewart here. And the only reason I say that is we talked about all day about how he was racing the track and he wasn't racing the competitors. Well, he's doing both, and I would love to see it pay off for him.
Not gonna lie, I think the way this race has been hectic so far today, these guys are burning off fuel, trying to lighten the cars as much as they can. Let's go ahead and take a guy that I know a little bit about. And you know what? We have now 10 cars on this lead lap all the way down to Spencer Ray. I'm going to go ahead and take Jordan Missig back here in the 7th spot. It's been a hectic day. He started on pole. Wouldn't it be something for car 48 to get himself back to pole, especially in some chaotic fashion here at the end. He's in a spot where he can do it so long as he plays this restart nicely. Rick Ray Vaughn, though, has the world's, well, at least this world's fate in his hands. How he restarts this race, I think, is going to depend, or certainly change the race a whole lot to the end, into the restart zone. Waiting on the iRacing green flag, and there we go. Already, Nate Stewart, a big move. Here comes Krug. Rick Ravon defending down low. Sweeney's going to have to go high. Stewart all over the gearbox of car number 7. He's going to have to go middle, 3 wide. Are we going to make it 4? 4 wide at Michigan. Here comes Krug on the bottom side.
Running out of racetrack. 3 wide, 4 wide through turns 3 and 4. Krug slides up the racetrack. He'll have to save that one. Here comes Stewart shooting the middle.
3 wide for the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. 4 now. Zach Buchanan, the champion of the top side. Ravon and Stewart, they're going to tangle. They're going to crash. Ravon up the racetrack. Massive accident behind him. We're still racing. It's Grant Palmer. It is Zach Buchanan. It is Reed Sweeney now in this battle up front. Sweeney's going to look low. He takes it 3 wide down to the white line at Michigan. All the way down to the bottom goes car number 9. Buchanan now going to try and set up a run to the checkers. Does he have enough? Or does Sweeney get a win? Does Palmer get a win? It's Palmer at the line. Grant Palmer wins this race. Incredible.
What a finish to Michigan. This is what this track always produces, especially when the Indy cars show up.
Morgenthaler in the wall trying to get back to the line. You saw Stewart damaged. There's Morgenthaler's machine. He is junk. Ravon's down to the grass. He has got to be livid. Cuthbertson congratulating Freilich on a rough but fun run. And Grant Palmer will come back onto the start-finish line and will be able to celebrate this one. Reed Sweeney in second, Zach Buchanan third, Ray in fourth, Krug in fifth. 6th there for Galloway. 7th for Nate Stewart once he finally came across the line. Morgenthaler has to tow back to the pits. Missig goes down with the DNF. Oh no, Nate Stewart comes down and hits Rick Ravon. You can tell how Stewart feels. What a finish. Could you ask for anything better?
No, I mean, this race had it all. 155 laps nonstop. A great run to the finish. Photo finish. Everything we like to see here. Across the line. What a finish.
I have to try and get another look at things here. This should do it for us. Trying to queue up a replay, and yeah, that was something. So this is back to the yellow. See if we can queue one up here for the actual restart. Let's just watch these 2 laps back. I mean, this is just fantastic. This is textbook what you want to see in the International Online Racing League. Fantastic stuff. What do you make of this, Caleb? Break it down for us.
Oh, we're going to look at this restart. And you mentioned it before the restart even happened here, that some of these drivers were going to be sitting ducks. And look at the run Stewart already gets on the field. I mean, by the time we get through 1 and 2 right here, he's already split in the middle, shooting for the lead. Obviously helped with Krug right there. He ducks low here, Stewart, but then shoots middle. 4 wide. I mean, 4 wide.
That's a race-winning move for Palmer.
Yeah, it really is. You're right.
That's everything it took for Grant Palmer to go to the top side and hang up there on the outside of Stewart and Ravon. And then this happens with Stewart and Ravon. Whatever happened into 1 here, there's 4 wide again. Buchanan up there. I can't tell if Ravon hits Stewart or if Stewart hits Ravon. They crashed. Missig is involved. Morgenthaler. Ray and Krug barely get through, and they finish 4th and 5th.
Wow. I mean, it's so much to unpack in that 2-lap shot to the finish, but it's almost about what we expected. I mean, when that caution came out and we knew we were going to have that shootout, that's what you can pretty much expect.
Break this one down a little more. 7th place finishing Nate Stewart nearly had the winning strategy. That's dashed by a late caution. He goes 3 here. It's made 4 with Grant Palmer on the outside. He goes sailing by them all. And again, that's a race-winning move for Grant Palmer. That's what it's going to come down to. That 4 wide decision to go to the outside of Reed Sweeney. And there's this contact. Let's go on board with Ray Vaughn since he was a little further back when they actually made contact. What happens here? Ray Vaughn comes up. Rick come up.
Yeah, I think that's what Nate Stewart was mad about at the conclusion of this one was he kind of took both of those drivers out of contention of the win for this one, and they both were in pretty good positions for the win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to watch this one more time from the onboarder Grant Palmer. I want to see that move that he made to go 4 wide. That was pretty. That move was money for Grant Palmer on car 30. Watch this one more time, and we'll bring up some post-race interviews. Grant Palmer, just enough room, even hit the wall, scraped the wall for a moment. You saw the damage render and then go back away. That's how close it was. That close, well, to winning the race or not, and in this case, he wins the race. Insane.
What a finish to this one. You see the contact right there once again. And I mean, had that happened any sooner, those drivers jolted up the racetrack any quicker, it might have wiped out these two drivers.
See, it's a drag race now with Buchanan and Palmer. Palmer comes down, blocks Sweeney. At this point, I think Sweeney's got the race, honestly. I thought he did. But Palmer is just enough behind him to suck up and get a draft. Watch this run to the checkers. This is impressive stuff. Just gets enough of a draft and across the line. That's how close it is. After 155 laps, that's how close it is.
Amazing. Simply amazing.
So Grant Palmer, Reed Sweeney, Zach Buchanan, they're all ready for some interviews after this one, and rightfully so. I mean, fantastic stuff out of these guys. I still cannot quite believe it. Let's go ahead and get ready then for first up. I'm going to go ahead and guess this is likely Grant Palmer. Grant, 155 laps later, only 5 laps led, but car 30 is in victory lane. How'd you do it there on that last restart?
I was trying to get in the head of the two guys ahead of me, and I don't know if you guys saw, but on the pace lap, I was just right next to, I think, Rick and Reed, and then down the back straightaway, I saw the hole next to Reed, Sweeney, and in the wall, and I put it there, and I knew it was like a now or never move, and I just made it work. And I had to make it work at that point with, I think we were coming to the white flag there, so I just knew I had to be the car ahead coming to the stripe.
It was a roller coaster of a day for you, but almost like a roller coaster in Laguna Seca with some noise limits. It was a quiet day, up and down, moved all around, and at the end, you're just in that perfect opportunity. What made you go 4 wide? Obviously, it was the slimmest of margins to not hit that wall. And what were you thinking when Sweeney went right back by you the next lap into 3?
Well, what made me go 4 wide was I just trust him. I've known him for a while. I do a lot of racing with him on iRacing and in real life as well. I get to go see him race. So, yeah, I was just confident in stuff that I do in real life sometimes and stuff I can do in iRacing with these guys. It's a lot of trust with them. And when he got by me going into, I think it was 3 or wherever it was. Yeah, going into 3, he got by me. And I just knew off the corner I had to get behind him a bit, drop the weight jacker all the way down to get the rear wing out of the air, and then just pray that I'd make it past him. And it worked.
At this point in the season, an off week next week, and you're right in that zone of being able to contend for an overall championship. Maybe not this Spring Cup, but you're right where you need to be to start to mount this season. What comes next in 2 weeks at Texas?
I think a lot of strategy like today. We started 15th, and in qualifying we hit the apron in 1 and 2 twice, so that kind of messed up our lap. But I think we got the Jackrabbit Award for today, so I'll get some extra points there. I know for a fact I didn't lead the most laps, so hopefully at Texas we do a little bit more strategy like we did at Phoenix, and just try to go from there. I think we're the best on every oval in terms of strategy.
I think a big time congratulations is in order for car number 30. Grant, a big one here this evening. Best of luck to you in 2 weeks to Texas, and hopefully we see you in a few more weeks in Indianapolis for the 500. Best of luck to you in the next few races.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for hosting the stream and everything. Thanks to all the viewers watching. Yeah, thanks.
Big time win here for Grant Palmer. You can tell he's definitely happy. Maybe trying to let this all sink in after 155 laps of racing. Comes home with the checkered flag just ahead of this guy, Reed Sweeney. I thought for a while, Caleb, he might have been in just the right spot to get this one. Unfortunately, doesn't quite get the win, but does take second place. Caleb, take it away.
Well, we got Reed Sweeney standing by here with us, bringing it home in a close second. And Reed, that one's got to sting a little bit. You found yourself, it seemed like, in the perfect position, but the driver of that 30, Palmer, made just enough of the right moves to get that pass on you.
Yeah, for sure. It was a tough one to lose, but that stuff kind of happens. And I thought I kind of dropped back to around 5th or 6th coming to the white flag, and yeah, I mean I thought I had it off of 4, and that draft is just so strong, and he just pulled right up next to me and just went by me, and yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is, and congrats to Grant for sure.
Well, you talked about falling back there to 6th a little bit, but what was going through your mind knowing we were only going to have 2 laps left for a shootout? Obviously, that turns the intensity meter all the way up. What was going through from your perspective during that 2-lap shootout?
Well, me and Grant might have had some net code down the backstretch or something, and it kind of dropped me back, and I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of kept my head down, and Rick and Nate got into it a little bit there at the white flag, and I was able to to run the low line coming off of turn 2, and I saw a gap down on the inside, and I don't think I'd run that bottom most lane the entire race, but I thought if this is going to be for the win, I guess I'll go for it, and I tried, but I mean, it was a great race. I mean, we were up there the entire time. I always felt pretty comfortable behind cars, so yeah, it's just unfortunate how we kind of lost out on that one. It was really close, but like I said, yeah, congrats to Grant and Zach, and it was a really good race.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us here, Mr. Sweeney, and we look forward to seeing you at Texas, and hopefully this momentum can carry on over into there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for broadcasting. See you guys later.
Reed Sweeney with a big day here at Michigan. That move there makes him from, I think, having a fantastic shot at the win to just being in the wrong place at the wrong time when it comes down to drafts at the end. Still, a great move. I almost had the win in sight, and it's just that move out of turn 4 for Palmer. So 2 race-winning moves, I think, for car 30 at the end there, and unfortunately, Reed Sweeney gets passed up in both of them. But car number 1 also had a great day, I think, all around, just stayed where he needed to be for a good finish. Not quite the win that car number 1 might have wanted, but Zach, 3rd place, it's still on the podium, 13 laps led. It's one of those season-building days.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was a great race. I was just trying to keep my nose clean pretty much all race. I ran in pretty much map 5 for the majority of the race, just saving fuel, and it was great because you could run about flat out in the lead pack, not lose any ground. And then once I got up front there with Bobby, we were swapping the lead, and we were kind of in tandem there, swapping back and forth in map 1, and we were kind of on the same page, so that worked out for both of us. And it was kind of similar to what what Nate and I did last year, and that worked out great. Get some laps led, and then it was really just about positioning on that final restart. I saw Grant. It looked like he hit the wall on the backstretch, going 3 or 4 wide or whatever it was on the outside, and I almost didn't follow him because I thought he hit the wall and I thought he had damage, and I didn't want to be up there if he had a problem. But no, we got through, and then coming to the white flag, we were like 4 wide, and it was pretty hairy, but we were able to get through, and I really thought I'd have a chance at it, but it was a good finish, good points, podium, I'll take it.
And on that really long green flag run, you were kind of sitting back in that 5th spot, starting to build yourself a gap to the guys ahead. Were you trying to save fuel, trying to hit a number? We saw Nate was on an alternative strategy. Was that in your mind?
I mean, Nate was trying to make it to the end on fuel. He was trying to do one less stop. My thought was I knew that I would not be able to make it. But my thought was, if I could pit later than everybody else, if I was in that lead pack, I would probably be better off in case we get a late race yellow. It's really easy for stuff to happen during the pit cycle, coming in and out of pit road. So my thought was I needed to stay out as long as possible, and as long as I could do that, I'd have a shot. And I actually hit the wall a few laps before that last caution, so I had to use my quick repair. I got bailed out by that, but no, it was good. One fell our way this season. Kind of had some bad luck this season, but we're doing okay in the points, and we're definitely doing okay now. We just got to keep that momentum rolling and maintain it for the rest of the season.
I might not usually ask a driver this question, but as far as from the admin standpoint, we saw the contact at turn 1 of the last lap. What happened there with cars 7 and 4?
So as an administrative staff, we looked at it, and we came to the conclusion that car 7 did not hold his line and was put in the longest line to finish the race. And I get it; it's 4 wide. You know, on the last lap, it's really tough to hold your line. Myself personally, I thought I was going to get swept up in something, but you know, there's not a lot of room. But it's at the end of the day, everybody's responsible to hold their line. Everybody's responsible for controlling their own car, and we just, you know, we felt that was avoidable, and that's why car 7 got a penalty.
Zach, we appreciate your time, especially your admin work this evening, even having to take a couple of long pit stops under yellow to handle all of that. 13 laps led, though. Again, it's a season-building kind of day. Can't wait to see how things go in 2 weeks at Texas.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That's Zach Buchanan. Again, really good day for him. Not quite what he would have wanted, especially with that opportunity there at the end, Caleb, but you can't turn down a 3rd place.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Andrew. A very great day here at Michigan, or not, I should say. I just can't get over that finish still, man. It leaves you on the edge of your seat all night long. Great day.
Finishing first, it is car 30. Grant Palmer just 5 laps led there at the end, but that's how these kinds of races go sometimes. Just ahead of Reed Sweeney and Zach Buchanan, 3 wide the line. About a second back, you find Spencer Ray and Bobby Krug, also very close across the line for 4th and 5th. That is Blake Galloway, Nate Stewart. Those guys got caught up in that wreck. Rick Ravon relegated to, it looks like it's going to be, it might even be the end of the longest line for his lap. So I think he might even be behind Nate Margenthaler there in the 10th spot. That's what scoring is telling me on my other monitor, and I think this is a little bit behind. So Jordan Missig, Nate Margenthaler, I believe, credited with 8th and 9th, and Ravon credited with 10th.
Back here in 11th, Kyle Cuthbertson. He will bring it home in 11th. In the 15, Cole Freilich in 12th. 13th, Andrew Maybach. 14th, Timothy Bates. 15th, Jake Walsh. We talked about him, plus 65 laps. 16th, Dale Weiser. 17th, Corey Rexford. 18th, Matt Skipper. 19th, Donnie Staubitz. 20th, Eric McCarthy. And rounding out the rest of the cars in 21st is going to be William Avery. So William Avery will bring it home in 21st. And that is your full field rundown for how they will finish this Michigan race.
21 cars showed up in droves this afternoon for, well, that finish across the line. That's perfect framing there. iRacing Scenics, thanks for that one. The rest of the schedule, the rest of this season, at least the Spring Cup schedule looks pretty interesting. Texas Motor Speedway, Indianapolis Grand Prix, and the Indianapolis 500. And that Indianapolis Grand Prix course has not been updated just yet. That is still the older course, which really begs the question, how are these guys going to handle that? It's the more complicated course, really, in that first sector. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for them.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, it's definitely going to present its challenges as it goes forward. But seeing some of these cars today, and like Nate Stewart, for example, with the challenges he had, it gives me a lot of belief that these drivers can overcome a lot of the challenges that they're going to present ahead. With the point standings the way it is, and the rest of the schedule we have left here, we got a week off, and we roll into Texas, Indianapolis Grand Prix, and Indianapolis 500. You know, it's gonna be an interesting last 3 races to this Spring Cup schedule.
Of course, we'll come back later in the year for the Fall Cup. That'll begin, I want to say, in August. I think it's in August, might even be later on in September, but that'll be later on in the year, so a few months off for these guys to regroup and get back after it for the fall. There will be 3 champions this season, or at least 3 championship opportunities, 1 for the Spring Cup, 1 for the Fall Cup, and 1 for the season as a whole of 18 races. And we're just trying to get through Indianapolis first and crown that first champion on the season. We'll see how things go to that point. Upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV look a bit like this, Caleb. It's BSRTC tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Then it's Circuit Zolder for the North American Racing League GT3 cars at 8:30 Eastern before Sunday evening, just after, well, I guess it could even be about the same time that NASCAR finishes things up. We're going to kick things off from the Bristol Motor Speedway with the MPI Cup Series on Bristol Dirt. That's 9 Eastern. A big slate of races coming up through the end of the week before we get things going again next week. So BSRTC at Sonoma, Circuit Zolder for North American Racing League GT3 action, and then Bristol Dirt for the MPI Cup Series, guys.
Yeah, and if you want to know how you can keep up with everything going on with Pit Stop TV, you can follow us on social media, Facebook at Pit Stop TV, Twitter, Pit Stop TV _, Instagram, Pit_Stop_TV, and on YouTube, Pit Stop TV 1. You can watch all of that racing action coming up on Thursday and with what we got going on Sunday. So when you get done with the NASCAR race, you can tune right into Pit Stop TV and see more Bristol on dirt action.
In case you're wondering about points, we don't have an updated graphic for you just yet, but the points standings are changing quite a bit after this one. Reed Sweeney does take the points lead by 12 over Matt Chubb. That's why consistency and showing up for races matters so much. It's that big of a swing from 17 back to 12 ahead. Spencer Rain narrows up the gap to Matt Chubb, only 15 points back of him, but 27 back of Sweeney now. Grant Palmer moves up to 4th. Stewart stays in 5th. Zach Buchanan and Bobby Krug, they'll move up to 6th and 7th in the standings. Adam Kreppen drops down 4 spots to the 8th spot. Dale Weiser stays put in 9th. And Blake Galloway now going to take over the 10th position of the point standings. Freilich drops. Missig moves up. Staubitz drops. Cuthbertson moves up. McCarthy and McClendon drop down. Margenthaler, a big gain on the day, 7 spots in the points as everybody else kind of moves around and finds their new spot in the point standings. That will do it for us, though, this afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it, at the Michigan International Speedway. A big shout out goes to Caleb Gladney for joining me on the mic today, and a big shout out goes out to our Outlaws Sim Series crew on their coverage of the Iowa Speedway throughout the course of the evening. I don't think they're quite done yet, but they might be. I think they're still going as they work to get things wrapped up with the NASCAR Next Gen cars out in Iowa. It's been a fun one, and it'll be a fun one next up when we have coverage of the International Online Racing League. Until then, though, we hope you tune in tomorrow for BSRTC action or North American Racing League action. And until we see you then, for those, have a great night. We'll see you then.